After chasing Shinjubai for 10 years, I finally realized how utterly pointless it all was. I gave up on him and started seeing Ju Yangchuan, who actually had feelings for me. Ju Yangchuan lit up the entire city with fireworks all night long and even bought an island to propose to me. But on the eve of our wedding, he vanished without a trace. When I found him, I overheard him sneering to someone. I only pursued Xu Qinghan to spite Shinjubai, but once I won her over, it just felt dull. Still, I couldn't just let it go, so I stood her up at the altar to humiliate her. Pretty entertaining, don't you think? So I beat him to it and left him at the altar, making him the laughingstock of the whole city. Rumor has it that the proud young master of the Ju family scoured the entire capital, yet never found his missing bride. 1 month before our wedding, Ju Yangchuan vanished. I searched the entire city but couldn't find him anywhere. On the 7th day of his disappearance, I got word that he'd been spotted in Shanghai. I caught the first flight out that very night. I finally saw him on board a ship. Just as I was about to knock and enter, I heard his scornful laugh. I only pursued Xu Qinghan to spite Shinjubai, but now that I've won her over, it just feels dull. I froze in my tracks. He didn't seem drunk at all. In fact, he was quite sober. So, some really harsh words came out of his mouth, and after tasting what she had to offer, I found it rather dull. The suggestive laughter rippled through the crowd. Only Master Ju could conquer the unattainable flower. Ju Yangchuan seemed to relish the flattery and continued, "Don't be fooled by how desperately she chased after Shinjubai before. She's actually incredibly naive. What a shame. What's the shame in that?" Ju Yangchuan slowly exhaled a plume of smoke. "The shame is, while I was her first man, I wasn't the first man she ever loved. She's been hung up on Shinjubai for 10 years. Who knows if she's truly cleared her heart of him. If it weren't for my rivalry with Shinjubai and the idea of pursuing Xu Qinghan just to annoy him, I wouldn't have put on this whole act of being the devoted guy silently watching over her." Someone teased, "You've been with her for 3 years now, Master Ju. Why the sudden lament?" Ju Yangchuan looked irritated and said coldly, "It's precisely because I chased her for so long that I feel so resentful." Another voice from the crowd chimed in, "I heard she's been searching everywhere for you, practically going crazy. You've been gone for days, are you sure you're all right?" Ju Yangchuan took a drag from his cigarette, exhaled a plume of smoke and sneered, "Making her lose face by ditching the wedding, isn't that hilarious?" I couldn't detect a shred of remorse, tenderness, or love in his expression. It was the look of someone who'd finally gotten their long-awaited revenge. It was the satisfaction of a moment he'd been waiting for his whole life. Fingernails dug into my palms, and my heart ached as if pierced by needles, so painful it stole my breath. I always believed Ju Yangchuan would be my salvation and final destination. Only after making sure my feelings for him were genuine affection, not mere gratitude, did I agree to be with him. That day, he was so overjoyed he lit up the entire city with fireworks. After 3 years together, he bought an island in my name and proposed under a sky filled with floating lanterns. I thought it was love, a grand romantic gesture. Little did I know, it was all an act, his elaborate scheme to get back at Shinjubai. So all those years of deep affection and support, was it all just an act, too? In a daze, fragments of the past drifted through my mind. At 12, I was brought back to the Shu household from a southern town, awkward, anxious, and crippled by insecurity. Back then, Shinjubai merely shielded me from bullies, and I fell hopelessly in love with him. I pursued him so relentlessly that everyone knew about it, yet he loathed me to the core. Eventually I grew utterly weary of it all and let him go. That's when I noticed Ju Yangchuan, who'd been quietly watching over me all along. He held an umbrella over me the entire night as the rain poured down. He said, "Xu Qinghan, I don't ask for you to see me, I only wish for you to live freely and follow your heart from now on." How ridiculous. I swept my heart clean, ready to welcome Ju Yangchuan's arrival. I was gradually falling deeper into his tenderness. Just as I began to dream of a sweet future with him, little did I know, I had handed him the knife to carve up my heart, piece by piece, cut by excruciating cut, drenched in blood. A sharp sting shot up my nose, and my eyes burned with unbearable pain. A tear escaped, quickly wiped away before it could betray me. The voices inside continued, all offering him advice. To get back at a woman, the best way is to let her plummet from the peak of happiness into the abyss. Wouldn't that be more satisfying? Exactly. So, young Master Ju, You should go back. Go back and accompany her to pick out a wedding dress. Help her deliver the invitations, act completely natural. Then, on the wedding day, leave her alone and humiliated. I bet Xu Qinghan would lose her mind. It was all disgusting laughter. I fought back the urge to vomit as I waited for Zhu Yanchuan's reply. How I wished to hear him say, "Stop joking around, I'm in love with Xu Qinghan," or at least, "This is going too far for a girl." But after a long silence, what I heard was Zhu Yangchuan responding in a steady voice, "That's not a bad idea, let's do it. Boundless rage is suffocating me." I forced a bleak smile, yet tears streamed down uncontrollably. "Zhu Yangchuan, you want to play games? Is that it? Then I'll play along with your charade. I'm dying to see the look on your face when you realize I've jilted you at the altar." 3. I erased all traces of my trip to Shanghai and returned to the marital home I shared with Zhu Yangchuan. I took out all the gifts he'd given me over the years and systematically cut each one to pieces. How strange, I wasn't even thinking about anything. So why were there still so many tears streaming down? I once heard someone say, "Heartbreak is like a bout of rheumatism. During the day, when it's clear and bright, you hardly notice it, but at night, when the dampness seeps into your bones, the pain becomes unbearable." Maybe it's just my withdrawal symptoms talking. I stood up and spread the custom-made wedding dress flat on the floor. With an expressionless face, I sliced a jagged tear with the scissors. I need to remind myself, relationships are the same once a crack appears. No amount of mending can restore them to their original state. After tidying everything up, I placed these items in the study, a room Zhu Yangchuan seldom entered. Lying in bed wide awake, I stumbled upon her from someone I might know while scrolling through short videos. The account name was the Me Who Loves A Yang, almost as if possessed. I tapped on it, a girl's record of her secret crush on a guy. Her latest post shows her location as Shanghai. Caption: "The man I've liked for 10 years is getting married next month. I want to gather the courage to confess my feelings. Wish me luck." In the photo she posted, I spotted a familiar hand. A wedding band still graced her ring finger. It was Zhu Yangchuan. 4. Instead of hearing from Zhu Yangchuan, I got a call from Shenju Bai. Guess who I ran into in Shanghai? Shenju Bai. "I don't care, stop calling me from different numbers." Just as I was about to hang up, I heard the smugness simmering beneath his voice. "Xu Qinghan, why can't you see the obvious? Zhu Yangchuan has been gone for so long because he doesn't want to marry you. He's bothered that you pursued me. He only got close to you to get back at me. He's not someone you can count on. What are you trying to say?" I was starting to lose my patience. "Xu Qinghan, at least you're the only girl who's had feelings for me for 10 years. I sat up and raised my voice. "Shenju Bai, you're doing this on purpose, aren't you? After 5 years, you're still so eager to drive a wedge between him and me. But let me make this clear, no matter what happens, this is my choice to make. I knew the risks when I placed my bet, and I won't look back." Shenju Bai paused briefly before deflecting the question. "I sent you something. You'll find it interesting." After hanging up, I received a video. In the dim light, a girl stood face to face with Zhu Yangchuan. He blew a smoke ring, his expression as nonchalant as ever. Amid the teasing cheers, the girl stood on her toes and pressed her lips to his, and he didn't pull away. The video ends here. I opened the girl's social media account. She had just posted an update. "What do you mean this isn't success?" The post featured a photo of 2 people kissing. I felt so sick I thought I might vomit. Rushing to the bathroom where I knelt over the toilet retching for what felt like ages, it just hit me that I haven't eaten all day. What could my stomach possibly throw up? My stomach was cramping so badly I couldn't stop trembling. I dragged myself to bed despite the pain and curled into a tight ball. Suddenly I remembered that night right after Zhu Yangchuan and I got together, when I insisted on stargazing from the mountain peak in the dead of night, without a single question. He indulged my little whim and drove me all the way up to the mountaintop through the night. The midnight air was cool. He held me gently, his warmth seeping into me, then leaned down and whispered cautiously, "The moonlight is so beautiful. Xu Qinghan, may I kiss you? There's no going back now." Drifting in and out of sleep until midnight, I heard noises coming from the living room. Cold sweat broke out all over me, and I was too weak to get up. The next second, the bedroom light flicked on. The harsh glare made it impossible to keep my eyes open. I heard Zhu Yanchuan's anxious voice. "Ching Ching, what's wrong?" 5. I woke up in the hospital at 7 a.m. Ju Yangchuan was holding my hand, looking exhausted as if he'd stayed up all night watching over me. He stood up to pour me some water. Is this how you treat yourself when I'm not around? With your stomach condition, are you trying to kill yourself? He confronted me. Look how ridiculous this is, all week while searching for him. I couldn't eat or sleep and lost 5 pounds. I kept wondering if Ju Yangchuan had crossed someone in business and gotten kidnapped. I was terrified every night, lying awake with tears soaking my pillow, yet he was perfectly content living it up elsewhere, even kissing some young woman, not talking. Ju Yangchuan's eyes twinkled with amusement as he pinched my cheek. You know I'm going to punish you, don't you? All right, get up and have something to eat. Your husband went home and made you kanji. I was up all night. As if nothing had happened, he helped me up and began feeding me spoonful by spoonful. Several times I nearly asked him, Ju Yangchuan, doesn't all this acting exhaust you? Or tell him straight, I overheard your conversation. If you don't want to go through with the wedding, we can call it off right now. It's not like we've registered our marriage anyway. But I forced myself to swallow it down. I really want to know, after all these years of love, why would he treat me like this? Just because I once had feelings for someone else, does that mean I don't deserve love? 6. Sweetheart, why are you crying? He put down the bowl and frantically wiped my tears. I'm sorry, darling, I was wrong. Okay, I lowered my gaze, slowly closed my eyes, and found myself in Ju Yangchuan's embrace. He gently stroked my back and began to explain. Sweetheart, I'm sorry for making you worry. I just got a little too excited. When I realized I was going to marry you, I couldn't believe it at first. I was afraid it was a dream, so I wanted to snap myself out of it. I'm sorry for not telling you in advance. Will you forgive me? Lying. We're getting married in 20 days. I'll stay home and spend this time with you, making you my most beautiful bride. How does that sound? But Ju Yangchuan, we have no future together. He wiped the tears from my cheeks with his thumb. When those peach blossom eyes fix on you, they make you feel like he's utterly devoted. I'm stepping out for a smoke. We'll check out in a bit. Ju Yangchuan probably trusts me too much. Or maybe he's not worried I'll overthink it after all. He's just following through on what his buddy said, putting on an act of affection. So I picked up his phone, which kept lighting up with notifications. The passcode was my birthday. I'd always known, but never actually checked. When I unlocked it, there were numerous messages from a contact named Peach Blossom. It was added yesterday. Brother Ian, you're back so late. You should head home and get some rest soon. I heard you're getting married. Brother Ian, could you send me an invitation? I'd love to share in your joy. I noticed you were holding your stomach after we got off the plane. Are you feeling unwell? I stayed up all night to make you millet kanji. It's great for your stomach. You'd better praise me for being so awesome. He hadn't replied to any of my previous messages, only this one. He replied, bring it to this address. I glanced at the pink thermal container on the table and felt nauseous again. The girl behind is still texting. Are you sick? Is it serious? How about I stay at the hospital with you? I'll make another batch of kanji after you finish this one. Brother Yang, please take care of your health. I've been sitting in the lobby all night. My legs have gone completely numb. And these period cramps are killing me. I powered off my phone and marked the message as unread. Then I rolled out of bed. Sure enough, there in the lobby was Ju Yangchuan. And then there's that girl from yesterday. 7. Through the crowd, I quietly watched them chatting and laughing. The girl was animated, her ponytail bouncing with every movement. At some point in the conversation, she pouted, rubbed her stomach, and Ju Yangchuan reached out to ruffle her hair. For a moment, I felt like a mistress peeping into someone else's relationship. From last night's kiss to today's hair tousling. Seems like Ju Yangchuan really likes her. Makes sense. Who wouldn't appreciate someone who quietly cares for them without expecting anything in return? Someone whose heart and eyes are completely devoted to them. I let out a self-deprecating chuckle. I turned and walked to the corner, only to see Shinju by there. He emerged from the shadows, his gaze dark and menacing as he looked in Ju Yangchuan's direction. Is this the opponent you've chosen for me? I looked him straight in the eye. Don't flatter yourself, Shu Qinghan. Why did you stop pursuing me back then? I found it baffling. Wasn't 10 years of chasing after him enough? Ever since I stopped pursuing him, he's been constantly trying to get my attention. He probably never really liked me at all. Just like Ju Yangchuan, it was just his pride getting the better of him. And you still want to get married like this? Shen Jubai asked me. I curled my lip. Mind your own business. I gave up on you long ago. I really don't want to see you. We passed by each other. Shen Jubai asked. Would it really not bother you even if he's with someone else? It would bother me. I pressed a hand over my heart. It aches a little. But I know things will get better someday. Just 20 more days. Shu Qinghan, hang in there. 8. On the way home with Zhu Yangchuan, I told him I'd accidentally damaged the custom-made wedding dress. Is this an omen that something bad is going to happen? I quietly observed his expression. With just a slight furrow of his brow, he turned to hold my hand and smiled as gently as ever. Shall we go look at wedding dresses again tomorrow? That dress took 6 months to custom make. It was designed by my favorite designer and is truly one of a kind. It was only delivered a week ago. It looked beautiful on me. But Zhu Yangchuan happened to be missing and never saw me wear it. I don't want it anymore. Any regrets? I have no regrets. Zhu Yangchuan, you want to play games? This is just the beginning. 9. The next day we went wedding dress shopping again. But of course ready-made gowns never fit quite right. I deliberately had Zhu Yangchuan spend the whole day helping me look, yet we couldn't find anything suitable. On our way back, I sighed. What a shame. It's all my fault for being careless. Zhu Yangchuan smiled and said, Don't worry about it, we'll take our time. I stared into his eyes and said, Zhu Yangchuan, the wedding dress is ruined. Maybe we should just call off the wedding. The car came to a sudden stop. And I was thrown forward by the momentum. I bumped into Zhu Yangchuan's hand. He had shielded me. Are you okay? He asked. I shook my head. I pretended to ask, What's wrong? I was just joking. He gripped my hand tightly and pulled me into an embrace. Darling, I can't take a joke like that. Do you have any idea how long I've been waiting for this day? Is that so? But Zhu Yangchuan, wasn't this all planned by you? You accompanied me to choose a wedding dress, helped me with the invitations, created beautiful memories with me only to stab me in the back. I was just giving you the opportunity you wanted. What are you afraid of? That evening when we got back, the moment the door closed and before I could even take off my shoes, Zhu Yangchuan pinned me against the entryway cabinet. His scorching body pressed tightly against mine as a torrent of kisses rained down. He was desperate to vent his emotions. I dodged away, gently pushing him back. Zhu Yangchuan, I'm not feeling well. I don't want to do this. My mood-killing words hit him right in the middle of the moment, and his body went rigid. It was as if he was searching for something in my expression. After a long pause, he sighed and pulled me into an embrace, his hand gently massaging my stomach. Is your stomach still hurting? I neither nodded nor shook my head. He kissed my hair and said, Have a seat. I'll take a quick shower and then make you something to eat. My phone kept blinking nearby. I unlocked it and saw the message from that girl. Brother Ian, I still haven't received my invitation **, acts cute **. By the way, Aunt Ju asked me to stop by your company tomorrow. My resume got accepted. I'm so awesome. Hope everything goes well so I can see you every day. I could even bring you lunch, homemade by me. I gently put it back. Then I opened my wedding preparation journal, wrote, 19 days to the wedding, went dress shopping with Yang today. What a shame, nothing fit properly. Probably because I've lost too much weight recently worrying about him. But it's okay, just thinking about becoming his bride makes me so happy. He must feel the same way, right? Scrolling up, I added notes about the little things that happened during this period. 30 days to the wedding, Yang has disappeared. I can't find him anywhere. I spent the night crying while watching our wedding venue plans on my tablet over and over. My eyes are all swollen. 20 days until the wedding, and Yang is back. I'm so weak. Did I push him too hard and give him cold feet? It's my fault. I shouldn't have been like that. I just love him too much. These will be the most heart-wrenching gifts I'll ever give him. 10. In the end, Zhu Yangchuan picked the wedding dress. He said we'll make do with this one for now, since he's already commissioned a master designer to create a new custom gown at great expense for our wedding on the island. Oh, and that island, Zhu Yangchuan bought it when he proposed to me. And he named it after me. How ironic. He was the one who said his dream finally came true when proposing. Now he's the same person wanting to bolt last minute and humiliate me before our wedding. Zhu Yangchuan, tell me, is it really this hard to find genuine love in this world? I saw that girl's update again. Work crisis averted. Brother Yang is keeping me by his side, getting closer to my crush. Hehe. The accompanying image is a candid shot of Zhu Yangchuan during a meeting. I took screenshots of everything, and wrote, 17 days until the wedding, the moon on the sea is the moon in the sky, and the person before me is the one in my heart. But few people know that the next line of the poem is, always the heart is that of an onlooker, yet helplessly, the person is in the play, just a fleeting illusion, like flowers reflected in a mirror or the moon shimmering on water. I'm determined to weave a blissful dream for him, only to send him plummeting into the abyss. That's why I've had Ju Yangchuan accompany me through numerous activities over the past week. This time, I completely stayed out of the wedding planning details, leaving it to Ju Yangchuan to coordinate directly with the event company. I want him to understand every single detail of the process. Even the smallest bouquet of flowers, he should know exactly where it came from. I made sure he knows every step of the procedure, down to what needs to be done each minute, even better than I do. He hugged me and whined, "Darling, marrying you is such a massive project." I laughed and said, "Ju Yangchuan, with such a massive project and all the effort we've put in, you wouldn't actually run away on our wedding day, would you?" He fell silent for a moment, saying nothing. After a long pause, he held me tight and said, "Darling, how could I ever run away? I'm absolutely crazy about you." And yet, the man who claimed to be crazy about me still sent this message in his buddies' group chat. Planning a wedding is such a hassle. That's what makes ditching it so satisfying, don't you think? Left a complete mess behind, brought shame upon everyone close to him. This was the revenge Ju Yangchuan had been after. Without a word, I pulled him over to write the invitations. The invitations had actually been sent out long ago, but I suggested sending them again to our closest friends. He personally put pen to paper, and I poured my heart into the casting. I asked him to write, "Hope greets the sunrise, thoughts accompany the sunset, and every encounter is sweet." I said to him with a smile, "This is the life I've always wanted." He didn't respond to me, because I saw him texting that girl, "I'll give you the invitation tomorrow." The girl sent back a happy emoji. I also wrote down, 8 days until the wedding, will we get a happy ending? Of course not. 11, 6 days before the wedding, the girl posted another update, "I want to give him my first time, so I'll have no regrets." The post included a photo of a hotel keycard. At that moment, Ju Yangchuan was cooking in the kitchen. I heard his phone ring. He answered it, his expression shifted, and he glanced at me out of the corner of his eye. I was sitting in the living room, quietly watching him with a smile. He turned off the stove and walked out to the balcony. When he came back, he was already untying his apron. "Something came up at the office. Dinner's all ready, go ahead and eat without me. I'll be back soon." I smiled and asked him, "You're in such a hurry, are you off to meet someone for a date?" Ju Yangchuan's eyes darted away, and he immediately pinched my cheek, saying, "What are you talking about? I really have something urgent to take care of." He was lying again. I grabbed his sleeve and said, "I'm not feeling well today. Could you please stay? What's bothering you?" Ju Yangchuan gently touched my face. I pointed to my chest and said, "Right here." He gave a mischievous grin, kissed my forehead, and said, "You little fibber, stop fooling around, I'll be right back. I'll come home early tonight to be with you." "So you're really leaving?" I haven't let him touch me all this time, he must be getting desperate. After he left, I quietly trailed behind him. He's usually so careful. He must have been truly frantic not to notice me following him the whole time. I didn't even park properly, and forgot to lock the car. I waited outside until midnight, but Ju Yangchuan never came out. 12. When Ju Yangchuan returned, I pretended to be asleep. The sound of running water from the shower just made me feel irritated. A heavy weight settled in my chest, making it hard to breathe. Moments later, the mattress dipped beside me as he pulled me into his embrace. I struggled against him. "Stay still," he murmured, "I just want to hold you." He kissed my hair as if nothing had happened today, but the thought of his body possibly carrying traces of another woman's perfume made me sick to my stomach. I clutched the sheets tightly, struggling to hide my emotions. I couldn't help but sink my teeth into his shoulder. "I'm so overwhelmed, I desperately need to vent, or I'm afraid I'll lose my mind." Wincing in pain, Ju Yangchuan asked, "Honey, what's wrong?" I didn't release my bite until I tasted blood. He sat up, looking at my pale face with deep concern. "What's wrong with you? I've noticed you've been acting strange lately, but I couldn't quite put my finger on why. What happened? Tell your husband." "Okay," staring at his disgusting face. I took a moment to compose myself. "It's nothing. just feeling the pre-wedding jitters, worried something might go wrong. He held me close as we settled back down, his voice a soft murmur by my ear. I'll be with you through everything. Seeing you upset hurts me more than anything. I remained silent. He went on, sweetheart, what do you think our married life will be like? Not sure, because we're not going to get married. He chuckled softly. I used to dream about having a future with you. So you stop cherishing what you've gained, is that it? I imagine you wearing an apron making breakfast in the kitchen, with the morning sun kissing your cheeks. It must be so beautiful. I'd love for us to have 2 children, one with your looks, one with mine. They'd be the living proof of our love, and I know they'd grow up to be wonderful people. I want to see you in my life, day in and day out, through all the ordinary moments. Darling, you ask if I'd ever get cold feet and run. How could I? I want to spend my whole life with you. After all, I was the one who worked so hard to win your heart. Ju Yangchuan. Don't get so lost in the act that you start believing your own lies. 13. 3 days before the wedding, I never expected that girl named Dao Rui to come looking for me. When I saw her, it finally dawned on me who she was. She was a girl whose education had been sponsored by Ju Yanchuan's family. The girl made her family proud by getting into a big city university from her small rural town. She secretly developed feelings for Ju Yangchuan. At that tender age, meeting a handsome, wealthy man who seemed out of reach, it was only natural. And when this man became her savior in desperate times, how could anyone not fall for him? Sis, you've had 10 years loving someone else, but I've only ever loved Ju Yangchuan for 10 years, so please, stop keeping him all to yourself, okay? Her eyes and brows were lovely as she smiled at me, yet I felt no warmth in her gaze. You must have seen what I posted, right? She knew I'd seen her social media account, so she laughed again. Sis, you should know we've kissed, slept together, and shared that mutual understanding, all from the unrequited love side. Brother Yang and I are a better match. Don't you think? It felt like a heavy stone was weighing on my chest, making it hard to breathe, but she was utterly provocative. When women marry, they always choose someone who likes them more than they like him. Do you really think he believes you could love someone else for 10 years, then just easily fall for him? You've only been together for barely 5 years. Ju Yangchuan even told her about these things. Yes, after I stopped pursuing Shinju Bai, I spent 2 years getting to know Ju Yangchuan as a friend. It was only after confirming my feelings that we started dating 3 years ago. I lowered my gaze and smiled faintly. If you were so confident he'd end up with you, you wouldn't have come to me in the first place. Dao Rui's face paled as she fired back. It's only a matter of time, isn't it? Just like you chose the one you secretly loved. What goes around comes around. He'll eventually notice someone like me who's been quietly loving him all along, because he'll see his past self in me. He'll feel sympathy and pity as long as he shows any curiosity about me. I'll have a real shot at winning him over. Someone like you, sitting comfortably at the top of the emotional ladder, could never understand. My palms were already marked with faint red crescents from my nails digging into them. At the thought of Ju Yangchuan, my heart felt as if it were being squeezed in someone's grasp, a sharp pang of pain shooting through it, suppressing the metallic taste of blood rising in my throat. I stood up and looked at her, enunciating each word deliberately. Don't rush, little sister. What you can't have always stirs restlessness. You should really cherish your position as a secret admirer, because once you move up, the idealized lover becomes ordinary, and the object of longing turns into a nuisance. 14. I leaned against the car, taking deep breaths, but still couldn't shake off the heavy gloom weighing on my heart. The dull ache in my chest sharpened into a twisting knife, the pain so intense my hands trembled slightly. I pressed a hand to my chest, fighting back the sting of tears. No, Shu Qinghan, not now. Ju Yangchuan already feels guilty toward me. It's almost over. During this time, I've taken him to all the places marking our countless firsts to take photos. I gave him a task to compile them into an album representing the journey we've shared. I told him this would become our cherished memory. With each location he wrote down, he'd pause for a long moment. I could tell he was reminiscing. His desire for revenge was real, but so were those emotions. I'm going to use his guilt as a weapon against him. Does it hurt? I'm hurting even more than he is, because back then, my love was completely pure, but I didn't lose either, because I can love with all my heart and let go with grace. I just misjudged the wrong person, that's all. When I snapped back to reality, A bottle of water had appeared before me. I looked up to find Shinjubai standing bathed in sunlight. I saw everything, he said. Even so, you still want to go through with the marriage? I didn't take the water he offered. He asked, any regrets? Every love I've experienced has shaped me, and I have no regrets. Would you consider giving me a chance? He asked, watching me with cautious eyes. I was so frustrated I almost laughed. Is this how all men are? When you offer them your heart on a silver platter, they brush it aside. But the moment you withdraw that unconditional devotion, they come rushing back proclaiming their love. Shinjubai, I've told you countless times I have no feelings for you anymore. Even if things end between me and Ju Yangchuan, I would never choose you. Why? In our social circle, we're perfectly matched in every way. Besides, we've known each other for years, we understand each other inside out. I let out a cold laugh. So you're saying I, Xu Qinghan, must choose between you and Ju Yangchuan, that I can't survive without either of you? That's not. He reached out to grab me, but I dodged his hand. Then I heard a familiar voice behind me. What are you doing? I turned around to see Ju Yangchuan silhouetted against the sunlight, his face shrouded in shadow, his gaze dark and piercingly cold. An oppressive yet commanding aura radiated from him as he landed a punch on Shinjubai's face. Shinjubai only hesitated for a moment before striking back. Shinjubai, if you dare lay a finger on Xu Qinghan, I swear to God I'll end you. Ju Yanchuan's eyes burned crimson, his voice trembling with rage. Shinjubai shot back, aiming straight for the jugular. Ju Yangchuan, who are you to talk? Don't pretend you pursued Xu Qinghan for any reason other than to get under my skin. How can you claim your feelings for her are genuine? Fine. I've had my eye on Xu Qinghan, but she's never given me the time of day. What about you? Does she know about your dear little sister on the side? In an instant, Ju Yangchuan froze in place. He looked at me with sheer terror on his face. He said, honey, let me explain. 15. Inside the car, Ju Yangchuan was explaining. He said she was just a young girl who had a crush on him, and seeing her reminded him of his younger self. There was nothing between them. Ju Yangchuan gripped my hand tightly and said, I've loved you for so many years, and we're about to get married. You have to believe me. His fingers tightened around mine, which felt strange. The turmoil in my heart has gradually subsided. I looked at him calmly. Ju Yangchuan, maybe we should call off the wedding. What? The panic in his eyes didn't seem feigned. We're getting married in 3 days. Darling, please don't say things you don't mean. Ju Yangchuan, do you feel terribly resentful? I smiled faintly. You think I chose you as a second choice, don't you? You don't believe I've stopped loving Shinjubai. You think there will always be a place in my heart reserved for him, is that it? No, that's not how it was. Laughing through my tears, I said, Ju Yangchuan, I truly like you. I like your gentleness and consideration, how you make me feel special in your eyes. Or perhaps there's no reason for liking someone at all. That day, seeing you standing in the rain, my heart skipped a beat. I thought, maybe it's you. The corners of his eyes reddened. His voice trembled as he reached out with shaking hands to wipe my tears. I know, please stop. It feels like you're breaking up with me. Don't leave me behind, I beg you. Ju Yangchuan, do you love me? He answered almost without hesitation. Yes, of course I do. No one could love you more than I do. But you're also the one who hurt me. I sniffled. All right then, I'll trust you this once. After all, it's not time yet. 16, 2 days before the wedding. Ju Yangchuan and I returned to our respective homes. When he saw me off, he held my hand tightly, as if afraid I might run away. Ching Ching, we are going to get married, right? I didn't say yes or no. He tried to console himself. Of course we'll get married. We will. That night, I secretly returned to the house filled with memories of him and me. I took everything that belonged to me. Even the stray hairs on the floor were wiped away. Only the pile of broken gifts he gave me remained, along with the wedding dress I had slashed to shreds, and the wedding planning journal and the wedding rings. I really wish I could have seen the look on Ju Yanchuan's face when he realized I was gone at the wedding. Must have been quite the spectacle. 17. The day before the wedding, Dao Rui updated her status again. The man I love most is getting married tomorrow. And I'm not the bride. The accompanying image showed her lying in a hospital bed with self-inflicted cuts on her wrist. I drove out and waited at the hospital entrance, wearing sunglasses. Soon enough, I saw Ju Yangchuan appear. Dao Rui suddenly threw herself into his arms. Ju Yangchuan stood there motionless, neither reaching out nor pushing her away. I was too far away to hear what they were saying. Dao Rui buried her head in his chest, sobbing uncontrollably, strangely enough. I felt completely numb inside this time. Suddenly, I remembered the second year of my relationship with Ju Yangchuan. In a moment of deep affection, I asked him, "Would you ever cheat on me and fall for someone younger and prettier?" He nuzzled my cheek and said, "What are you talking about? No one could ever compare to you. Besides, if even I were capable of cheating, there wouldn't be a single decent man left in this world. I've known you since we were 12. We got together at 25, you've been half my life. How could I ever love anyone else? It was all a lie." A message from my senior appeared on my phone. "As a leading expert in my field, I'm certain you'll absolutely love it here once you arrive. You have no idea how long I've been waiting for you to come around. I honestly thought you were just toying with the idea of pursuing a doctorate. I'm so damn excited I can hardly wait. When exactly are you coming? I'll set off fireworks at the airport to welcome you." Watching the two of them pouring their hearts out to each other nearby, I lowered my head and replied, "Tonight, every trace of me has been erased from Ju Yanchuan's wedding room, written in my wedding countdown journal 2 days early. 2 days to the wedding, I've finally realized we must love ourselves first. It's not that I'm unworthy of love, but that you're unworthy of mine. There's nothing wrong with me. 1 day to the wedding, this period might seem like I was giving you a chance, but it was really for myself, so I wouldn't feel resentful when we parted ways. I watched your every move with cold detachment, how you hurt me, how you remained unbothered until I felt nothing when I looked at you. No love, no emotion, just utter disgust. We're done, Ju Yangchuan. I'm done with you." Then I packed my bags and turned off my phone. I boarded the plane without looking back. I have to allow some people to briefly appear in my life. If I love the wrong person, I'll bravely let go and move forward boldly. Every road has its end, but I'm also really looking forward to it. Ju Yangchuan, I'm ditching tomorrow's wedding too. Bet you're just as shocked. 18. In my 3rd year in the UK, I threw myself entirely into academia and landed an assistant professor position. Right before graduation, my senior came by for drinks with me. You know I went back home the other day, right? Guess who I ran into? Who? That two-timing ex of yours. My senior fumed. That bastard tracked me down and still had the nerve to put on his lovesick act. Hearing about him again, I felt completely unruffled. He went looking for you, looking for me, please. He tracked down every college and grad school classmate he could find, but you warned us not to tell him your whereabouts. And you had your family lock down any information. Fat chance he'd find anything. Guy's completely lost his marbles. I clinked my glass with hers, not really concerned about him anymore, and you shouldn't be either. When I left, he actually asked me to bring you a wedding dress, said he's been waiting for you all this time. Seriously, who asked him to wait? I shrugged. It's all in the past anyway. I won't feel resentful just because the ending didn't live up to the journey. No wound is beyond healing. No despair is without end. Over the years, I've long since made peace with it, but they still slipped this into my backpack without telling me. How sneaky. I took it from them. It was that handmade photo album I'd asked them to create. It was filled with photos of us together, tracing our journey from awkward acquaintances to growing affection. It documented every moment since we fell in love. On the final page, his bold handwriting declared, "Shu Qinghan, I love you." My senior noticed it too, shooting me a panicked glance. "Hey, don't tell me you're actually touched by this." I closed the photo album and threw it in the trash. How could I? If anything, being moved would just make all my efforts feel like a joke. My senior let out a sigh of relief. "But there is something you might be interested in." From my senior, I heard Dao Rui's story. Apparently it caused quite a stir in the domestic news. She was caught red-handed as the other woman and got beaten up by the wife. Then she tried to use a live stream to clean up her image, but it backfired, and more dirt was dug up on her. People said she was a repeat offender, and all the posts she made while pursuing Ju Yangchuan were exposed. Her secret crush diary turned into a weapon against her, and now everyone's calling for her head. She knew he was taken and still went for him. This is giving me rage-induced health issues. I can't believe people are still romanticizing home wrecking like it's some noble act. Confessing right before his wedding and offering her virginity. This girl's delusional. If I were the male lead's fiancé, I'd have slapped her right then and there. She's shameless, but he's no saint either. if he had any boundaries, she wouldn't have put on this whole show. So everyone was waiting to see how this relationship would end, and an insider revealed that the bride had run away on their wedding day. The grooms searched the entire city but couldn't find his missing bride. And he ended up losing his mind. Netizens collectively declared that he had it coming. The senior said, "I hope you never have the misfortune of crossing paths with those two jinxes in your entire life." 19. Speak of the devil. Right after I gave my speech as the outstanding PhD representative, I spotted Zhu Yangchuan backstage. He grabbed my wrist and said, "Ching Ching, I'm sorry, could you just hear me out?" I pulled my hand back and looked at him with nothing but coldness in my eyes. "Does it even matter?" His face was ashen, voice choked with emotion as he struggled to speak. "Shu Qinghan, you can't do this to me. Even criminals get a chance to present their defense. You can't just sentence me to death without a hearing." I gazed calmly at the face I once loved. "Some endings are inevitable. Your apology won't make me say it's okay, and your explanation won't earn my forgiveness." He refused to give up. "Is there really no chance for me to make things right? What's the point? The moment you claimed you only pursued me to spite Shinjubai, we lost any future we might have had." I thought for a moment before continuing. Maybe I went along with your act out of some similar desire for revenge, playing along as we created those so-called happy memories you mentioned. I endured all those days clinging to a sliver of hope for you. But you still weren't satisfied, were you? You just wanted to humiliate me by running away from our wedding. Zhu Yangchuan, what more is there to say? I owe you nothing. I'm the one who owes you. Zhu Yangchuan insisted urgently, the redness in his eyes growing more pronounced. It's me who's in your debt, that's why I came looking for you. I would never have run away that day. You're the only one I've ever considered my bride, my one and only bride in this lifetime. When I used to read novels where the female lead walked away after reaching her breaking point with the male lead, I'd always eagerly anticipate the chase his wife to the crematorium trope. There was something satisfying about seeing the male lead finally realize his mistakes, drown in guilt, and understand how much she meant to him. That awareness itself felt like the ultimate punishment. But now that this scenario is playing out in my own life, I don't feel the overwhelming sense of vindication I'd imagined. Perhaps it's because their regret pales in comparison to the genuine emotions I once invested. Our relationship ended 3 years ago. Just leave. 20. Zhu Yangchuan didn't leave. Instead, he bought the apartment across from mine and moved in, and he kept showing up at my school every single day. He shamelessly followed me around for 6 months, acting like he was determined to stick with me for life. Sometimes I'd get so frustrated I'd snap at him. Zhu Yangchuan, spare me the expired affection act, will you? His eyes instantly welled up. Shu Qinghan, please, don't treat me like this. Okay, I shouldn't have run my mouth. I shouldn't have said those hurtful things. I shouldn't have even thought about ditching our wedding and humiliating you. I truly love you. It was just my stupid pride that made me act like such a fool. I know I was wrong. Please, don't leave me. I felt completely unmoved, even slightly amused. Zhu Yangchuan, this is really pathetic. Just keep ignoring him. I thought things couldn't get more absurd. But then Shinjubai somehow caught wind of his whereabouts and showed up too. Sometimes I think it's no surprise they move in the same circles. Both have such dramatic personalities. I must have committed murder and arson in my past life to be stuck with these two lunatics. On Christmas Day, both of them asked me out at the same time. I said yes. I wanted to settle things with both of them once and for all. Zhu Yangchuan had booked out an entire restaurant. When I stepped inside, the place was already filled with camellias. The joy on his face was genuine, but it drained away the moment he saw Shinjubai appear behind me. What brings you here? Shinjubai scoffed. She asked me to come. I set my bag on the table and tilted my chin. Both of you, have a seat. Ching Ching. Zhu Yangchuan called my name. Let me make everything crystal clear right here, right now. The three of us have known each other for 18 years. We're 30 now. Let's stop these childish games. I turned to Shinjubai. I'm grateful you were that beacon when I felt lost, but maybe what I loved was the light itself, not you. When you never responded and grew weary of me, I let those feelings go. So Shinjubai, I owe you nothing. And I'll tell you this, your obsession now stems from seeing that timid girl who once orbited around you become someone who needs no protection and no longer revolves around you. This isn't love, it's just your pride hurting. I'm not some pawn in your petty rivalry. so Shinjubai, walk away, it's better for both of us. Shinjubai gazed at me in silence before turning to leave, watching his retreating figure. For a fleeting moment I traveled back in time and saw my 12-year-old self hiding in the bathroom, wounded and insecure. But this time, he wasn't the one who saved me. This time, I had finally learned to fight back. It took me long enough. But better late than never, right, Ching Ching? I know you once had feelings for me. You truly loved me with your whole heart. Zhu Yangchuan seemed to have guessed what I was about to say, his face contorted in pain. My feelings toward Zhu Yangchuan were perhaps a bit more complicated. I paused briefly before continuing. As for Dao Rui, he explained urgently, I never loved her, and I never touched her. I nodded. Yes, you just wanted to vent your feelings of resentment toward me, especially as the wedding approached. You felt increasingly stifled and unable to shake it off. I'm not lying to you. During those 5 years with you, I experienced joy, pain, heartache, and sweetness, all the feelings of being in love. It was my experience, and I once thought I would spend the rest of my life with you. But sometimes life is unpredictable, and you never know what will happen next. I heard those words, I played along with your act, and I used the very things you intended to hurt me with to hurt you back hard. Stop, Ching Ching, 18 years. How could you ask me to give up? How am I supposed to just let go? Zhu Yanchuan's voice broke with a sob, tears streaming down his face. What can I possibly do to earn your forgiveness? Please, just tell me. I let out a weary sigh. The three of us have been tangled up in this for far too long. There's no happiness to be found this way. Besides, just like that wedding dress once torn, it can't be properly mended. Even if remade, it won't fit right. This is how it ends between you and me. I stood up, so don't come looking for me anymore. I can't bear the weight of your love. And I won't look back either. He ran his fingers through his hair in anguish. With such a long future ahead, is there really not a single chance for me? I looked at him and smiled. Zhu Yangchuan, did you receive the painting I commissioned from your favorite artist when I turned 23? He froze for a moment, a tear finally tracing down from the corner of his eye. We're completely over, aren't we? I remained silent. Walking away was my answer. What's gone is gone. I may feel a tinge of regret sometimes, but I have no remorse. When I closed the door, Zhu Yangchuan was still standing there motionless. But I knew it was all over. Mountains and seas will find their reunion. Storms and rains will meet again in time. Unsettled hearts shall reconcile at last. And all things will unfold as destined. May I, too, in this vast ocean of life, live with boundless joy and contentment, for there will always be a gentle breeze from the mortal world. Enough to fulfill my countless dreams. End of main text. Zhu Yangchuan, extra story. 1. The day before the wedding, I felt inexplicably panicked. A message popped up in the group chat. Zhu, are you actually going through with the wedding tomorrow? Give us a straight answer. Yeah, we're even coming to watch the show. We'll record Shu Qinghan's reaction. It's gonna be epic. I kept checking my phone, but Shu Qinghan hadn't sent a single message. I'm feeling a bit on edge. Posted in the group chat. Isn't the bride supposed to stay in touch with the groom before the wedding? Bro, none of us have ever been married. How would we know? But generally speaking, she'd probably be too excited to sleep, whispering sweet nothings to you over video call. Right, not necessarily. What if they're just shy, brother Zhu? Asking like that, are you planning to get married tomorrow or something? Do you want to? Lately, all the moments I've shared with Shu Qinghan keep replaying in my mind. My heart skipped a beat. A clear voice inside told me I wanted to marry her. I'm not fooling around, I'm dead serious. After all these years, I've given my genuine heart. I want to see her in loose pajamas, curled up on the carpet watching a movie. I also want to see her pout and say, I can't cook. Zhu Yangchuan, can you help me? And I especially want to see her small frame curled up in my arms, blushing and calling me a shameless flirt at the slightest romantic remark. Shu Qinghan, vibrant, adorable, and utterly wonderful, in the home we share together. I want to spend the rest of my life with her. At that thought, I called her, but it went straight to voicemail. Something feels off. When I asked in the group chat, they said they probably just went to bed early because they're exhausted. Wedding planning is a huge undertaking after all. Maybe that's the case. I sent this in the group chat. My wedding is tomorrow. Every single one of you better show up, so you're not ditching the wedding anymore. Bro, come on. Brother Zhu was just kidding. You think he'd actually call it off? who'd throw away their reputation like that. I turned off my phone, imagining how stunning Xu Qinghan would look in her wedding dress. It's just a shame that custom-made gown got ruined, but it's fine. She'd be the most beautiful bride no matter what she wears. I thought to myself, Zhu Yangchuan, it's time to let go of those lingering thoughts and regrets, and build a life with her, too. There was something off about the wedding. I couldn't quite put my finger on what I was feeling. The ceremony was proceeding exactly as planned, with the host on stage, but my mind was elsewhere. I couldn't spot Xu Qinghan anywhere. My heart was racing with this overwhelming sense that something momentous was about to happen. When the host said, "Let's hear what the groom has to say," I snapped back to reality that wasn't in the script. But the surround sound system at the venue had already started playing. I nearly lost my balance, trembling uncontrollably. It was what I'd said that day on the cruise ship. I only pursued Xu Qinghan to spite Shinju Bai. Once I actually got her, it just felt underwhelming. But I couldn't just accept that, so I thought, why not humiliate her by ditching the wedding? Sounds like fun, right? The room erupted in an uproar. Then, videos started flashing across the big screen. That girl tried to kiss me. I dodged it, but they managed to catch it on camera, the hotel room number she posted on social media, and there I was, caught on camera walking in. When she threatened suicide, I just told her not to do anything stupid. I offered some comfort, worried she might not let it go. Kindred spirits in hardship. I understand the ache of quietly loving someone. Then there's that photo of her hugging me, crying outside the hospital the moment she decided to let me go. I couldn't bring myself to push her away. Nothing actually happened between us. Yet somehow, my heart feels like it's shattering into a million pieces right now. Xu Qinghan knew, so she knew all along. She knew I didn't want to get married anymore, yet she kept playing along with me, unwilling to give up hope. Suddenly, all those memories we shared came flooding back to me. She gave me so many chances, and finally, when the disappointment had piled up enough, she left. Zhu Yangchuan. You're the one who let her down. You're absolutely despicable. 3. I got into a fight with Shinju Bai. You're a damn monster, he yelled, punching me square in the face. I had my own emotions to vent, and I threw a punch back fiercely. And what the hell are you? Some kind of saint? Shinju Bai sneered. Yeah, I'm no saint either. I still have feelings for her. I'm the one who missed out on 10 years with a great girl, and I regret it. What of it, Zhu Yangchuan? Do you have any idea how much I envied you back then? I never had her. I hurt her. And I thought you were different, but you turned out to be such a damn scumbag. She was with you for 3 years, not 3 days, and this is how you treat her. I slumped to the ground in despair, unable to fathom what she must have felt upon hearing those words from me. Her heart must have turned to ice, prompting her to vanish from our wedding without a trace. Not a single word of explanation did she leave me. Yet as I stumbled away from the ceremony in a daze, I received a gift custom-made 3 years prior, painted by my favorite artist. In the painting, a hush falls over the scene. A slender girl crouches on the ground, her eyes brimming with tears as she looks up at a boy holding an umbrella. That was us at 23. Xu Qinghan, at 25, commissioned this painting on the day we made our relationship official. After 3 long years, it finally reached my hands. The card read, "This is a gift from 25-year-old Xu Qinghan to the future Zhu Yangchuan." Perhaps in that moment, I heard the sound of my heart skipping a beat. Holding the painting, I broke down in tears. Would the 23-year-old Zhu Yangchuan want to kill his 28-year-old self? 4. I've become the laughingstock of the entire capital. They say my bride ran away from our wedding in front of everyone, leaving 2 men fighting over her, both of them complete scoundrels. They say a bastard like me should never have gotten involved with her in the first place. I shut out everything else, consumed by this desperate need to see her again. I scoured the entire capital, but there was no trace of her anywhere. Finally, I understood the depth of despair she must have felt when I went missing and she was searching for me. It was as if she had deliberately erased all traces of herself. No one knows where she went. I had people look into it, but all I got was this reply, "Mr. Zhu, please don't make this difficult for me." Right, the moment she heard what I said, she had already started making her exit. How could she possibly let me find her? This is entirely my fault. True departure isn't a dramatic scene, but a quiet fading away. Xu Qinghan has truly given up on me. When this realization hit, the ache in my heart was eating me alive. I returned to our marital home. Every trace of her presence has been erased. She did it on purpose. Deliberately leaving me nothing to hold on to, she severed herself from my life with brutal finality. She's absolutely ruthless. I turned every room upside down, finally found what she left behind in the study. Those were all gifts I gave her, completely shattered. She's trying to draw a line between us this way, making it clear she's disgusted by the gifts I gave her. And that wedding dress we had custom made in Italy, there's a long scratch. It runs from the waist all the way down to the hem. I remember 6 months ago when we went to place the custom order, she was so overjoyed she practically danced on the spot, saying she'd finally gotten an appointment with this designer. She said that on our wedding day, she wanted to be the most beautiful bride I could ever imagine. Back then, her eyes sparkled with starlight. But I, for the sake of so-called pride, all for the sake of some misguided resentment and revenge, I ended up hurting the one I loved, trampling on her genuine feelings. Deep down I've always known Xu Qinghan's love for me was real, passionate, and meant to last. Countless nights we clung to each other in desperate passion, whispering sweet promises of forever. But I ended up losing her. My ridiculous pride drove me wild with jealousy. Just because she had loved someone before me, I forgot about the beautiful memories we once shared. Those wedding preparation diaries were proof of her love for me, but now they feel like daggers piercing my heart. Tears streamed down my face as I flipped through the pages, clutching the wedding dress tightly. My silent tears fell in the empty house. I wanted to spend the rest of my life making amends, but that person would never see me again. 5. I started drinking heavily and avoiding home, numbing myself this way. I told everyone I was married, that I had a wife. A real beauty I'd loved for over a decade before finally winning her heart. I often find myself laughing and crying while scrolling through our chat history on my phone. Everyone says I've lost my mind. I haven't gone crazy, I just miss her terribly. Dao Rui came to see me again. If I don't see her, she won't give up. She finally seized the chance to corner me at the bar. Brother Yang, what are you doing? What am I doing? I'm drinking. Ever since Xu Qinghan left, I've lost all interest in everything. I can't bring myself to go back to that home. It's filled with memories of her, yet completely devoid of her presence. The only way to release these pent-up emotions is through drinking and letting loose. Dao Rui, get lost, will you? She came up and hugged me. She's so old and has wasted so much of your time. Why won't you look at me? I'm young, and the most important thing is that I love you. I've thrown caution to the wind and loved you for 10 years. You're the only one in my eyes and heart. I'm so much purer than she is. Clean. I shoved her away roughly, yet my eyes stung with unshed tears. I haven't had a proper night's sleep. Every time I close my eyes, Xu Qinghan's face haunts me. I thought getting revenge would bring me satisfaction, but instead, I'm left with a heartache so sharp I can barely breathe. 16 years have passed since we met at 12, and now we're 28. I can't believe I lost her. I'm filled with so much regret. I truly regret it so deeply. Without any warning, I covered my face and broke down sobbing. Dao Rui tried to approach, but I looked up and glared coldly. Get lost, unless you want to vanish from the capital. Also, the Zhu family's financial support for you ends here. That night, I returned to the bridal suite I once shared with Xu Qinghan. Curled up on the study floor, I clung to the wedding dress, folding into myself. 3 years later, I finally heard she had completed her doctorate. I flew over without a second thought. I wanted to see her, to tell her I was sorry, but all I got from her was cold indifference. It seems she really doesn't love me anymore. I can't believe it. After all the years we loved each other, how can she just stop loving me like that? So I stayed, hoping to win her back just like I did all those years ago. Persistence wears down resistance. If I humble myself, surely her soft heart will notice me, but she genuinely wants nothing to do with me. When Shenjubai showed up later, I'd already made peace with his presence. Looking back with the clarity of time, I realized how ridiculous my past jealousy had been. It's just that Xu Qinghan asked to meet and clear the air between us, 18 years of shared history, and she just cast it aside without a second thought. It finally dawned on me, both Shenjubai and I had lost. I was the one who fell for her first, the one who ended up with her, yet I was the one utterly defeated. And so the years stretched on, one after another. I fly to the UK many times each year, just to catch a distant glimpse of her. When I was 35, I saw her sitting on a park bench cradling a little pink bundle. Sunlight filtered through the clouds to kiss her profile, and the little girl had her exact eyes and brows. In the distance, a handsome, tall Chinese man bought her an ice cream and handed it to her. When she smiled, she was just as beautiful as ever. It just doesn't belong to me anymore, not anymore. When I turned my head, I saw Shinjubai standing behind me as well. He was just silently watching them too. After a long while, when the family of 3 had disappeared down the street, Shinjubai finally spoke. Shu Qinghan should never have met either of us. He glanced sideways. Zhu Yangchuan, when you envied me back then, did you ever imagine there'd come a day when I'd envy you? But in the end, neither of us held her hand tight enough. I let out a soft sigh. Shinjubai, we're both scoundrels, and scoundrels don't deserve love. For the rest of my life, I only wish her peace, joy, and well-being, a world without us. The end. Story 2. I worked as Miles's secretary for 7 years and was his secret lover for 9 years. Until one day when I woke up in his bed at the age of 29, he said to me, "Keep April free for my wedding." I froze on the spot, my eyes turning red. He chuckled, "You don't think I'm going to marry you, do you?" I asked him, "Then, what am I to you?" He pulled me into his arms and comforted me. "You know what kind of people the family are. If you married in, you'd surely be picked on and wronged. It's more comfortable to keep you outside, and it's also for your protection. Be good, it's just a business alliance. It won't affect us. I still love you the most." But at that very moment, I suddenly fell out of love. The alarm clock rang promptly at 7 in the morning. I closed my eyes and pushed the hot chest behind me. "Get up, Miles." The arm around my waist suddenly tightened, pinning me in his embrace. A scalding heat pushed in forcefully. My body still ached from the wildness of last night. I reminded him in a hoarse voice, "We'll be late." "Not this time." He lowered his head, kissed my neck, his voice husky. "I'll be quick." We had always been compatible in bed, and his needs had always been terrifyingly high. An hour later, I trembled as I tied his tie. He raised his hand, smoothed my messy hair, and said in a lazy, sated tone, still angry. I glared at him, my face still flushed. "My perfect attendance bonus is ruined, Miles." His fingers caressed the red marks on my collarbone. Drawing out the end of his words, "I'll pay you double, okay?" I slapped his hand away in annoyance. "We're really late." He was already in his 30s. I wondered where he got so much energy. I composed myself and reported today's itinerary to him. "The signing ceremony is at 10. You have a lunch appointment with President Lee at 12. There's a company's senior management meeting at 2 in the afternoon. A talk about the second phase construction cooperation with President Chen at 4. And the industry forum dinner at 6:30. Yeah." He nodded and buckled his watch. Once again, he took on that cold, ascetic look. He glanced at his watch. "Oh, right." As if remembering something, he ordered, "Keep April free for my wedding." My hand jerked violently. The nearly finished Windsor knot instantly came undone. I didn't react for a moment. Did he just say, wedding? Was he proposing? My eyes reddened, and the tears suddenly couldn't be held back. After almost a decade of this long-distance relationship, this day had been awaited for far too long. "No." The voice above me carried a hint of embarrassment. He looked at me, frowned, and laughed. "You don't think I'm going to marry you, do you?" It was like a bucket of cold water had been poured over my head. I stood rooted to the spot, looking at the traces of our intimacy on the floor. I suddenly found them extremely glaring. He paused and explained, "It's Juliet. The eldest daughter of the Whites family, a pampered rich girl, his perfect match in terms of family background." After a long silence, I stared at him in a daze, my lips trembling as I opened my mouth. "Then, what about me?" He slightly turned his head, avoiding my gaze. "You know that Grandpa's health isn't good these days, and Norman is causing trouble. The company is about to go public. An alliance with the Whites family is the best choice." At this point, he paused and looked at me, with a bit more of a consoling look in his eyes. "Lynn, I'm doing this for our careers." How nice that sounded, our careers. By the way, Juliet is a bit spoiled. You should be more tolerant of her in the future. Don't take it to heart. With that, he stroked my head again. "Of course, I won't let you be wronged." I looked out of the window. The festive atmosphere of the new year, with all the decorations, mixed with the sunlight, shone through the French windows. It stung my eyes. I stared straight at him, my heart clenched. the pain making it hard to breathe. "So, you've never thought of marrying me, have you?" A hint of impatience flashed across his face. "Lynn, is that piece of paper really that important to you? You know what kind of people the family are. If you married in, you'd surely be picked on and wronged. It's more comfortable to keep you outside, and it's also for your protection." I smiled bitterly. So this was his so-called good intentions. His parents had always looked down on me, a small-town overachiever. No matter how outstanding I was in my career, in their eyes, I was just a gold digger who got ahead by relying on a man. I closed my eyes, and the tears still couldn't stop flowing. "Miles, what have I been to you all these years? Your lover? Or a caged canary?" He let out a helpless sigh and wiped the tears from the corners of my eyes. "What are you thinking? Have you ever seen anyone keep a lover for almost 10 years? He reached out and pulled me into his arms. "Be good, it's just a business alliance. I promise I won't touch her. I still love you the most. Over the years, my whole heart has been on you. Have I ever been unfaithful? Look at the people in this circle. Who else can do what I've done?" He was right. People in their circle, with access to top-notch resources, had affairs all the time. Husbands and wives played their own games, and lovers changed like running water. But Miles was different. Everyone knew that Miles was completely smitten by his little secretary, and he had been treating her like a treasure for 9 years. The first time I met Miles was in my senior year of high school. At that time, he had just taken over the family business and came to our school to do charity on behalf of the Miles Group. As a student representative, when I was presenting flowers to him, my father rushed into the school, grabbed me, and wanted me to drop out and go home. Because the crops in the fields were ripe, and he needed me to go home to work. After the autumn harvest, once I turned 18, he would marry me off to get the bride price. At the most vulnerable age for my self-esteem, I was slapped twice in public. When despair was almost suffocating me, a cold voice seemed to come from the sky. "How much?" I looked up in a daze. At that time, Miles was in his early 20s, with sharp eyebrows and phoenix eyes. Although young, he had a maturity beyond his age. For the 80,000 yuan bride price, he paid 160,000 yuan and severed my relationship with my father. Like a god descending, he pulled me out of the mire, but I didn't know that 160,000 yuan couldn't even buy a single part of the watch on his wrist. His casual act of kindness changed the life of a rural girl. Since then, his assistant had been sending me money every year for my school expenses, and I never saw him again. During that long time, I could only picture his appearance in my heart. Until I was 20 years old, I had saved up all the money he had sponsored me and wanted to return it to him. I didn't have his contact information, so I sat downstairs in his company, hoping for luck. In the freezing winter, after waiting for 3 hours, I finally saw his car slowly passing by. "Miles." I stood up and walked forward. He turned his head and glanced at me, frowning. The next second, the car window slowly rose, separating him from me. He had already forgotten me. I rushed forward in a panic, and my fingers were pinched painfully by the car window glass. "Miles, I'm Lynn. You sponsored me 3 years ago." The car window slowly lowered, and he turned his head, his gaze landing on me. I handed him the envelope full of money, my fingers trembling in pain. "I don't need your sponsorship anymore. Here's the money to pay you back. I'll pay back the 160,000 yuan slowly." I bowed to him. "Thank you for your kind act back then. You'll surely be rewarded for being a good person." "Oh, it's you." He looked me up and down, his gaze landing on my swollen fingers pinched by the car window. "Get in the car, let's go to the hospital." "No need, Miles, I'm fine." I clutched my fingers in embarrassment and subconsciously stepped back. At that time, my nose was red from the cold, and my whole outfit cost less than 100 yuan. I was completely out of place compared to the luxury of his car. Later, his driver got out and opened the door directly. I sat in the seat. It was warm in the car, a world apart from the freezing cold outside. Looking at my pilled sweater and old cotton boots, I shrank my hands and feet. The warm wind blew on my face, and along with the embarrassment, my ears instantly turned red. He broke the silence in the car. "You earned so much money in just 2 years of college." I nodded, blushing, and explained, "Yes, I got scholarships every year. This year, I bought some clothes and small commodities in the south and sold them at the school night market. I made quite a bit of money." He raised his eyebrows slightly, a hint of appreciation in his eyes. The little girl has quite a business mind. After a pause, he asked me, "Are you interested in interning at Miles's during the holidays?" I couldn't believe it and quickly nodded. "Really, I'd love to, thank you, Miles." Miles's was a well-known local enterprise and the destination for many outstanding graduates. That winter vacation, I became a little assistant in Miles's secretariat, doing odd jobs around him. Everyone around him was a career elite. In comparison, I was like an ugly duckling that had strayed into a group of swans, young and timid. Miles had extremely high requirements at work. During the day, I was so busy that I didn't have a moment to rest. I didn't dare to slack off at all. At night, after my colleagues left one by one, I still tried to learn more knowledge. One day after work, I was still sitting in front of the computer as usual. The lights outside were just coming on, but I didn't notice. "Why haven't you left work yet?" A deep voice came from behind. I turned around in a panic. He stood tall and straight, with the twinkling city neon behind him, looking like he had a halo. "What are you looking at?" He leaned over slightly, his gaze landing on the words like private equity fund, options, leverage effect on my computer screen. I explained nervously in a low voice, "I heard you talking to clients during the day. I didn't understand a lot, so I wanted to study on my own." He nodded slightly, a faint smile on his lips. "Loving to learn is a good thing." He turned around and found me a few books. "Read these." Then he tapped on my desk. "It's getting late. Go home." I'm not into squeezing my employees. Going downstairs together, we unexpectedly ran into a male classmate who was pursuing me. I had refused him many times, but he still kept pestering me and even chased me to the company. "Lynn, I've been waiting for you for a long time. Can we have dinner together?" I was both embarrassed and awkward. After dealing with this, I repeatedly assured Miles, he won't come to the company again. I promise it won't affect my work." I was afraid of leaving a bad impression on him because of this. He raised his eyebrows slightly, looking rather curious. "A suitor, sort of." I felt a bit embarrassed. He tilted his head slightly, looking at me. "Do you know the best way to reject someone?" I shook my head blankly as I looked at him. The corners of his mouth curled into a faint, mocking smile. "It's to tell the other person that you already have a boyfriend." "But I don't," I replied subconsciously. "What kind of boyfriend do you like?" He asked me. "I don't know." I twiddled my fingers nervously. He looked down, staring straight at me. "Is someone a few years older than you okay?" I avoided his gaze in a fluster. His eyes were burning with intensity as he asked me again. "Is someone like me okay? Handsome, wealthy, and successful?" For a young, inexperienced girl, each of these traits was extremely alluring, and perhaps, the moment I looked up at him at the age of 18, I had already fallen. I didn't understand why he would take a liking to me, an ordinary and dull girl with nothing. Maybe it was just on a whim, for something new. I never expected that I would accompany him from the age of 20, spending nearly a decade of my youth with him, only to end up with unrequited love. Maybe I should have foreseen this day from the moment I walked towards him. "Lynn, I hope you know your place." He once said this during an argument. At work, we were superiors and subordinates. Even if I was scolded to tears for making mistakes, I could only endure it. After work, he would hold me in his arms and comfort me. "You can't talk back to your boss, but you can to your boyfriend." This was the so-called place he referred to. Back then, I was greedy for his warmth and indulged in this contradictory and complicated relationship. Now, his fiancée said the same thing to me again. "Lynn, I hope you know your place." When Juliet showed up at the company, as expected, it caused quite a stir. In the past, to avoid suspicion at the company, Miles had never officially acknowledged our relationship, but those subconscious little gestures and the inadvertently intersecting gazes couldn't escape everyone's notice. It was laughable. I was the last one to know that Miles was getting married. I thought Lynn would finally get her happy ending. I never expected that Miles would decide to get married just like that, sleeping with the same woman for 9 years. Even if she were a celestial beauty, he'd probably be sick of her by now. Without comparison, there's no harm. Lynn is pretty, but compared to her, in terms of temperament, she's completely outclassed. That's right, she's a proper rich girl. That Hermes bag of hers. There are only 5 in the world. Vice President Lawrence, who had always been at odds with me, was whispering with a few employees. The volume was just right. reaching my ears clearly. Juliet sat on the sofa in the president's office, looking exquisite from head to toe. She wore a seemingly ordinary tweed suit that would look rustic if not worn properly, but on her, it was like it was custom-made, perfectly showing off her rich girl's elegance. She looked me up and down and let out a light laugh. I've known Miles for many years. He's just like this. He'll keep eating the same dish. Actually, it doesn't mean that dish is that good, it's just that he's used to it and too lazy to change. She tilted her chin slightly, looking down at me. Come to think of it, eating too much fast food isn't good for your health either. Don't you think so, Lynn? I stood there, my fingernails almost digging into my palms, my lips trembling, but I couldn't say a word. Miles has only had you by his side these years, so his private life is quite decent, if you behave yourself in the future. I won't bother you, but, she paused, her eyes landing on my face. She frowned and shook her head. Lynn is almost 30, right? I've never seen such an old mistress. No, I should call you the third one, right? How many more years do you think you can stay with Miles? When you lose your youth in a few years, will he still be interested in you? There's no shortage of young faces in this world. What ability does Lynn have to keep Miles and be his mistress for a lifetime? She narrowed her eyes slightly, enjoying my embarrassment, with a mocking smile on her lips. Being a secretary during the day and a mistress at night, Lynn is really capable. I forced back the soreness in my nose and said in a trembling voice, Juliet, my relationship with Miles isn't what you described. In these 9 years, except at the company, he never hid our relationship. He would take me to meet his friends, and they would call me sister-in-law. We lived together, just like an ordinary couple, running our little home. Juliet couldn't help but sneer. Lynn is so used to the good life that she's forgotten where she came from, a poor student, climbing all the way into her sponsor's bed by relying on her looks, using a man to cross the class divide. It goes without saying how much effort you've put into this. After being with a man for 9 years, has he ever given you a single promise? She pressed on, the sarcasm in her eyes growing stronger. Do you think just because you accompanied him to a few friends' gatherings and people called you sister-in-law, you're really Mrs. Miles? Stop dreaming. The family will never let a village girl into the house. His marriage to me is a match of family backgrounds, a union for family interests. What do you have? Men aren't stupid. Will he give up everything he's worked for half his life for you? She stared at my red-rimmed eyes, showing disgust. You don't need to go cry to Miles. His Miles group now needs the support of my pay family. It's his honor that I, Juliet, have taken a liking to him. Men are all pretty much the same. I chose Miles because he's good-looking and cleaner than other men. After a pause, she warned me coldly, regardless of what you were like before. From now on, keep a low profile in front of me. Facing such humiliation, I really wanted to refute her, but in her eyes, wasn't I just an unacknowledged secretary who got ahead by relying on Miles? These years of feelings seemed like a joke to others. I was never the leading lady. Juliet, Lynn, Miles is here. The assistant knocked on the door to remind us. Miles, you're here. You were talking to clients just now, so I chatted with Lynn for a while. Juliet called Miles sweetly and affectionately hooked her arm around his. He nodded slightly, his gaze lingering on me briefly before withdrawing. Juliet then said, I heard that Lynn graduated from a prestigious university and has worked at Miles's for 7 years. She's extremely excellent. I want to entrust her with planning our wedding. What do you think? Miles smiled at her and nodded without hesitation. Okay, as long as you like it. His tone was as calm as if he was talking about the most ordinary thing. Juliet curled up a proud smile and looked at me. Then I'll trouble Lynn. I stood in front of them, like a clown being laughed at. My fingernails dug deep into my palms, but I seemed to feel no pain, only shame and embarrassment, hitting my nerves again and again. I'm sorry, Miles. I don't have the energy to plan your wedding. I forced back my sobs, my voice trembling. At that moment, I just wanted to escape immediately. But thinking about the project that the team had painstakingly won yesterday, and how everyone was looking forward to getting bonuses from this project to have a good new year, I tried to suppress my emotions and explained calmly, everyone in the team is working overtime on Jason's case. Please find someone else. Juliet didn't care, then just let Vice President Lawrence handle the current work. He's a cousin of Uncle Miles. We'll be family soon. It's better to leave things to our own people. Don't you think so, Miles? Miles nodded and looked at me. Lynn, Then go hand over Jason's case to Vice President. I looked at him in disbelief. The emotions I had been suppressing for a long time could no longer be held back. Why should I hand over the case that my team negotiated? Besides, that Vice President Lawrence is just a parasite who got in through connections. He doesn't know anything about professional skills. How can he do a good job for the client? Miles's face darkened instantly. And he looked at me coldly. Lynn, are you questioning my decision or trying to teach me how to do things? Looking into his cold eyes, I just felt it was extremely ridiculous. Clearly, yesterday we were still celebrating winning Jason's case together, and at night, he held me tenderly, whispering sweet nothings. But now, he was so heartless, I couldn't figure out why. I quit. I gritted my teeth, my tone resolute. Fine, go write the application now, you can leave in a month. He reminded me coldly, I'm leaving now. I turned around, not wanting to stay for another second. As soon as I walked out, the whispers of a few employees reached my ears, acting like the boss's wife all day long. Now she's been slapped in the face. The real mistress has arrived. Vice President Lawrence is related to the chairman. The future boss's wife really knows how to win people over. I think Vice President Lawrence will be the company's second-in-command from now on. Vice President Lawrence smiled smugly and waved at me. Oh, by the way, Lynn, please come and do the work handover. When several members of the team saw me, they gathered around me anxiously. Lynn, we heard you're leaving. Miles actually gave our project to Vice President Lawrence, and he doesn't even want our team to execute it. Everyone was looking forward to getting a year-end bonus from this project. After working so hard, we get nothing. Why? Listening to their words, I was filled with guilt. I'm sorry I couldn't help you guys. Lynn, it's not your fault. Everyone knows your ability. How could Miles do this? You've been with him for so many years, and you're so capable. He turned on you just like that. It's just to please Juliet. He deliberately made Lynn look bad. I used to admire him so much. I was so blind. Men are all useless. Everyone was complaining for me. I forced back my tears, filled out the resignation application, and clutched it in my hand as I went to find Miles to sign it. I don't want the unpaid salary. Please sign it, Miles. I'll disappear right away and won't affect you and your fiancé. He was busy with his work, his voice indifferent. Resignations are required to be submitted 1 month in advance. Please follow the rules. I could no longer control myself, and tears streamed down my face. Miles, what do you mean? Are you deliberately trying to embarrass me to please your fiancé? Seeing me cry, a complex look flashed in his eyes, like guilt or helplessness. His lips moved, but he hesitated. Lynn, I think you should understand me. For this matter, you just endure it for a few days. I have my own plans. I'll also give you a satisfactory explanation later. Why should I endure this kind of humiliation? Am I that cheap? I was hysterical, and my emotions completely got out of control. Sign it or not. I want to leave whenever I want. I signed a labor contract, not a slavery contract. I was so angry that I threw the resignation letter in his face and turned around to leave. Miles's voice came from behind me. Aren't you worried about those people in your team? If you leave a few days later, your team can still be responsible for the project. With that one sentence, I instantly calmed down. I gritted my teeth, turned around, and looked at him, saying each word clearly. Okay, I hope Miles keeps his word. In the following days, Juliet seemed to be deliberately against me. She came to the company early every day to discuss the wedding process with me. Lynn, which style do you think is better? Lynn, which wedding dress do you like? I put on a professional smile and reminded her, Juliet, it's your wedding. It should be based on your preferences. She looked at me with a proud smile. I just want to hear your preferences. You pick what you like, and I'll experience it for you. All the employees in the company were sharp-eyed and quick-tongued, so they soon knew that this future boss's wife was determined to make things difficult for me. I was calculating silently in my heart. Forget it. Endure it for the sake of everyone's bonuses. But soon, several members of the team came to me. Lynn, Vice President Lawrence is going too far. He actually changed the plan we had already finalized. He did it on purpose. He said your previous plan was too low-end and not suitable for the client. He doesn't know anything. He's just deliberately making things difficult for us. He said our level was too poor and didn't let us touch the main tasks at all. Every day, he just makes us do menial jobs like serving tea and water. just after the employees finished complaining. I received a call from Jason. On the other end of the phone, he was very dissatisfied. "Lynn, why isn't your team working on our company's project?" I quickly explained. "I'm sorry, Jason, I'm resigning from the Miles Group, so I can't follow up on your project for the time being." Hearing this, he was furious. "Lynn, we've been cooperating for many years. I signed the contract with Miles's because of your ability. Now you're replacing the person in charge. What does this mean? You changed the plan without permission, and you even got a decimal point wrong in the most basic data. Is this the level of your company? I want to terminate the cooperation. Miles's has breached the contract. Let your Miles pay the liquidated damages." With Jason terminating the contract, Miles's also had to face a huge compensation. Vice President Lawrence, who had been so arrogant before, was instantly at a loss. Miles, however, looked calm and directly called a board meeting. Jason had been a long-term partner of Miles's, and the Jason family was quite powerful. Offending the Jason family would not only cause a great loss of interests but also seriously damage the company's reputation in the industry. Vice President Lawrence was an old-timer in the company and a relative of Miles's father. Over the years, he had been loafing around and throwing his weight about in the company, and he had leaked a lot of information to Miles's stepmother. But now, since he had made such a serious mistake, no one could protect him, including Vice President Lawrence and the small clique behind him. They were all uprooted and removed from the company. After the board meeting, Miles and Juliet walked towards me together. Miles's expression was no longer as cold as before. He even took my hand and explained, "Lynn, it's all over. You don't have to be wronged anymore." Juliet also apologized to me and explained, "I'm sorry, Lynn, I was just acting with Miles. Don't be angry, I'm only marrying him to deal with my family. I also have someone I like. I won't mind whatever you two do." Miles looked at me and ordered, "Lynn, your team will still be in charge of the project. Go and apologize to Jason. He trusts you very much and recognizes your ability. The project won't be delayed, and he probably won't pursue it further." Listening to their words, I stood there in a daze. It took me a long time to come to my senses. Suddenly, I realized that Miles was just playing a game of chess, and I was just a pawn. Juliet deliberately made things difficult for me, and Miles made me look bad in front of everyone, always protecting Juliet, just to make everyone think that he was tired of me. Vice President Lawrence took it seriously and only wanted to vent his dissatisfaction with me over the years. After getting carried away, he naturally made mistakes, and Miles was waiting for this opportunity to get rid of him completely. In this way, the whole company would be under his control. As for Jason, as our long-term partner and someone who trusted me, as long as I apologized, the project could still run smoothly, and he wouldn't haggle over it. Throughout the whole process, no one would lose out. Only I had lost face for a few days and endured all kinds of grievances. That's all. Congratulations on getting rid of your trouble so easily. I forced a bitter smile. "So, can you approve my resignation application now, Lynn? I know you've been wronged. I apologize. And Juliet has also apologized to you." I interrupted him coldly. "Miles, we're breaking up." He couldn't believe it. "Just because of this. Is it really necessary?" I met his gaze and asked him, "Miles, have I ever been in your future plans?" "Of course, you are. Being your mistress kept outside is your plan, right?" I sneered. "What haven't I given you except that piece of paper?" He frowned, looking a bit helpless. "It's just a business alliance. I don't like her, and nothing will happen between us. We'll be the same as before. Why can others do it but you can't?" Yes, in their circle, arranged marriages were everywhere. Husbands and wives lived their own lives without interfering with each other, and they kept their lovers outside. They still lived their lives, had children. So, he subconsciously thought that I should stay in this position, because I'm not others. I gritted my teeth and shouted at him with all my strength. I slowly closed my eyes, feeling a soreness in them. "Miles, I don't seem to love you anymore." In these 9 years, he had filled my heart and eyes, but from the moment he wanted me to be his mistress and allowed me to be humiliated in public, the love of these years seemed to disappear in an instant. There was a long silence, only the heavy breathing of him and me could be heard. He slowly stretched out his hand and hugged me tightly, softening his tone. "Lynn, don't be impulsive. I shouldn't have lost my temper with you. You just endure the grievance for a while. We've worked so hard to manage the company for so long, isn't it for the position of the heir of the family? Now, only an alliance with the Whites family can maximize the benefits. I sneered. Maximize the benefits, Miles. For your benefits, you can abandon anything, right? And I was just a discarded pawn in his balance of interests. Miles looked at me and let out a helpless sigh. Lynn. I said I'd compensate you. He took out a document and handed it to me. A marriage certificate can't guarantee much, but this one can. I took it and was shocked to find that he had transferred many of his assets, such as real estate and shares, to my name. I couldn't believe it. You just went to do this. He nodded. Yes, I asked the lawyer to draw up the gift agreement. I know you've been wronged. You've followed me for so many years without a proper status, and you have no sense of security. My marriage to Juliet is just a formality. After Grandpa passes away, it will be dissolved. In my heart, you're the only one who is my wife. He looked at me, his eyes full of affection, and coaxed me gently. I admit that for the so-called interests, I'll give up a lot. But that doesn't include you. Now, I'm giving you my interests. I held the agreement in my hand and stood there for a long time, until the internal line rang, reminding Miles, Mr. Chen has arrived in the reception room. Miles answered and then said to me, be good, sign it. He got up and left the office. Looking at the assets worth hundreds of millions on the agreement, my mind went blank. It would be a lie to say I wasn't tempted. These assets were something I could never earn in several lifetimes, and he just gave them to me like this. But when my rationality returned, looking at those strings of numbers, I realized that it was also a deeper abyss. I'm no longer a young girl of 20. I won't be easily fooled by a man's sweet talk. In a wealthy family's marriage, there are too many interests involved. Divorce is the least cost-effective option. Since it was a union based on interests, how could they give it up easily? The computer made a few beeping sounds, interrupting my thoughts. Miles left in a hurry, and the computer was still on, logged into WeChat, out of professional habit. I subconsciously went to turn it off to prevent information leakage. When the mouse hovered over the interface, one of his friends had just sent him a message. Dude, no one is as sincere as you. You gave half of your wealth to your little secretary. Aren't you afraid she'll run away with the money? Miles replied immediately. No, I know her. She has a very strong moral sense and self-esteem. If I give her 1 point, she'll give me 10 in return. It's true that she's been wronged without a proper title, but there's no other way. I can't marry her. If I put the money with her, she won't spend it. She'll only be more devoted to me. The other person kept sighing. Dude, you're really something. No one can stand your moves. Besides, she's a girl with no background. She doesn't dare to go against the family. Even if you give it to her, you can get it back. I stared at the screen, feeling cold all over. He was Miles. He had been in the business world for years and was an expert at playing with people's hearts. He knew me too well, understood the weaknesses of my character, and took advantage of this knowledge to manipulate me at will. He wasn't unaware of my grievances. He just knew how to coax me. And I would lower my stance for him time and time again. The winter in the north was bitterly cold. The cold wind blew on my face, stinging painfully. The atmosphere on New Year's Eve was extremely lively. I walked along the city lights step by step. My body was getting colder, but my heart was becoming calmer. The phone in my bag had been ringing for a long time. I sniffed and answered it, saying, Miles, Happy New Year. I won't love you anymore in the coming years. Lynn, where are you? He sounded anxious. I stood among the bustling crowd, looking at the couples coming and going. Miles, thank you for saving me when I was 18. Let's say goodbye here. Lynn, you're not a child anymore. Be rational. Don't be so emotional. I closed my eyes and smiled silently. Miles, I'm willing to humble myself to love you, but that doesn't mean I'll always do demeaning things for you. He was both anxious and angry, questioning me. Lynn, I gave you everything. What right do you have to break up? I looked at the arriving bus, with people getting on and off in a hurry. Then I don't want it anymore. I don't want any of it. On the glass of the bus stop sign, the 29-year-old me was reflected. The 29-year-old Lynn was wearing beautiful and expensive clothes, with delicate makeup, looking confident and elegant, full of a mature charm. I almost forgot what I was like 9 years ago. Back then, standing beside Miles, I was extremely cautious. On the first New Year's Eve we spent together, he took me to Macau. The luxurious architecture of the Wynn Palace dazzled me. Passing by the gambling table, he casually threw 2 chips and asked me, "Which one?" I replied nervously, I don't know." He smiled indifferently. "It doesn't matter, just for fun. Point at one." I just pointed randomly. Before I could react, I had already lost. Those 2 chips were worth 200,000 yuan. 200,000 yuan. It could buy a house in our small county town. It could save so many rural girls from their plight. In his hands, it was as simple as throwing away trash. He gave me the remaining chips and asked if I wanted to play again. I shook my head uneasily. In the resplendent casino, some people were screaming with joy after winning money, while some people lost everything and squatted in the corridor smoking. There were many ATMs in the casino, and the unwilling ones were withdrawing money frantically. I was worried about that 200,000 yuan all day long. And the surrounding excitement became blurred. He noticed something was wrong and asked why I wasn't happy. I whispered, "I don't like gambling." He nodded slightly and said, "Well, then don't gamble anymore." But I didn't know that stepping into his world was also a huge gamble. I was gambling with my youth for an uncertain future. On New Year's Eve, we drove to Hong Kong. In the top suite of the Rosewood Hotel, we overlooked the entire Victoria Harbour. The moment the New Year's fireworks went up, he gently hugged me and asked, "Do you like it?" Yes, it was the most beautiful fireworks I had ever seen, but it was just fleeting. That day, everything was more luxurious than I could imagine, but I only felt nervous and strange, as if I was an outsider who had strayed into this world. That night, with the New Year's fireworks over Victoria Harbour, we had our first intimate moment. I held him tightly. There was a dull pain in my body, but my heart was filled with unprecedented happiness. That godlike man was now my other half. It seemed that all my good luck in half my life was used up in meeting him. He asked me what my New Year's wish was. I asked him, "Miles, when will you break up with me?" He frowned, puzzled. I asked him, "Don't rich people often change girlfriends?" He laughed and explained, "Lin, I'm not that kind of person." I asked him, "Then why do you like me? How could there be so many Cinderella stories coming true?" I knew very well how ordinary and plain I was. He said, "I like your purity and simplicity. Being with you makes me feel relaxed and comfortable. I'm not a flirtatious person, and I don't have a chaotic private life." Only then did I know that his family wasn't happy. His mother died early, and his father brought his mistress an illegitimate child who had been kept outside back home. I used to think that rich people should have no worries since they could get whatever they wanted, but he grew up wearing a mask, with severe anxiety and sleep disorders. He said that holding me was warm and sleeping beside me made him feel at ease. Back then, I was like a blank sheet of paper. He taught me how to conduct myself, how to survive in the workplace, and how to love him. Whether as a boss or a lover, he was my mentor. I was like a pious believer, desperately trying to keep up with his footsteps. I only thought that if I could be a bit more excellent, and then even more excellent, I would have the qualifications to stand beside him. But the reality was that how could 10 years of hard study compare to the accumulation of 3 generations, even if he didn't inherit the family business and just lived as an idle rich second generation? The wealth in his hands was far beyond what I could reach even after struggling for several lifetimes. Later, I was no longer self-abased or timid. However, standing in front of him, I never had enough confidence. Just as he said, he had given me everything. He was always in the position of the superior. Between us, it was like a nurturing game, and I was like his most perfect creation. The square was crowded with people, and the New Year's Eve was extremely lively. On the stage, several rock singers were singing passionately. At some point, it began to snow. I watched the falling snowflakes and remembered the fireworks on New Year's Eve when I was 20 years old, blooming and then disappearing. I used to think that it would be nice if it snowed. When I woke up in the morning and pushed open the window, the whole world would be white. At that time, he asked me, "Do you have any New Year's wishes?" I said, "I hope that we can watch the snow together next New Year's Eve." In the following years, we spent every New Year's Eve together. I had no family, and he was also estranged from his family. We were like 2 small animals warming each other in the dark. It was a pity that it never snowed on those New Year's Eves. The concert on the square stage was coming to an end. Everyone was counting down the new year together. The century bell, which had been silent for many years, rang out the New Year's bell. and the white snow was falling thickly. I tightened my collar, closed my eyes, and made my 10th New Year's wish. Lynn, belong to yourself. The snow was falling more heavily, and the crowd began to disperse. I took out my phone to call a taxi, only to find that my phone and wallet were gone. The street was crowded with people, and the traffic was jammed. I stood on the street, at a loss. I no longer liked the snow that I had been looking forward to for so many years. It was so cold, and I couldn't get a taxi, without a phone or money. I was afraid I would freeze to death on the street. I had been standing stiff in the cold wind for a long time, and my hands and feet were numb. Just then, I saw the boy who had been singing on the stage packing up his instruments and about to leave on his motorcycle. I quickly walked up to him. Sir, my phone and wallet were stolen. Can I borrow your phone to make a call? He stopped, and his companions joked. Yo, Jason, how many girls who lost their phones have you met today? He casually glanced at me, with a bit of banter in his voice. Sorry, sister, I like men. I just realized that he thought I was hitting on him. What a coincidence. I like men too, brother. I really lost my phone. Seeing that he still didn't believe me, I simply turned to one of his friends, handsome guy. Can I borrow your phone? He got anxious immediately and stopped me. Use mine. I picked up the phone, stared at the screen, and froze on the spot, not moving for a long time. Hey, sister, are you going to call or not? Who should I call? I had no relatives, no friends. The only number I could remember was Miles's. Thanks. No need. I sniffed and handed the phone back to him. He was stunned for a moment, staring at me. Do you want a ride? I'll take you home for 100 yuan. You definitely can't get a taxi now. I looked up at the bustling crowd and the little lights shining from the tall buildings in the distance. Where could I go, among the thousands of twinkling lights? Not one belonged to me. I squatted on the ground and burst into tears. He seemed startled by me and quickly said, No, sister, where do you live? I'll take you there for free. Okay. I was sobbing so hard that I could hardly breathe. I don't have a home. No way. Are you the little match girl in this heavy snow? He was a bit flustered, scratching his head. Well, why don't you stay at my place? I'll charge you 500 yuan, the price of a nearby hotel. I'm not a bad guy. I'm just short of money. Here's my ID card for you. As he said that, he handed me his ID card. I was a bit confused. Isn't it the guests who should leave their ID cards when staying at a hotel? I took it and saw the name on it. Jason, 23 years old. So young. But looking at his outfit and the cool Ducati, he didn't seem like someone who was short of money. Seeing the suspicion on my face, he got anxious. Sister, are you coming or not? It's -15 degrees tonight. I hesitated. He was singing on the stage just now, so he probably wasn't a liar. With a face like that, he didn't need to deceive people for beauty. It was so cold that I finally made up my mind. I got up and sat on the back of his motorcycle. He looked at my thin cashmere coat, threw his down jacket to me, and said nonchalantly, We young people can bear the cold. Then he straddled the motorcycle, turned around, and grinned at me. Hold on tight, sister. The engine roared, and we sped away. He shouted against the cold wind. Sister, did you break up? Is it that obvious? The old one goes, the new one comes. New year, new look. Things will get better. The cold wind was howling in my ears, but because of the kindness of this strange boy, a different kind of warmth welled up in my heart. His home wasn't far, just 3 or 4 blocks away. It was a large flat in the city center, extremely expensive and with a broad view. I exclaimed, You live here and you're short of money. He shrugged helplessly. My family cut off my cards. I can't live anymore. Okay, so he was a rich second generation who depended on his parents. I comforted him. I'll pay double the rent. He was overjoyed and turned around to find a t-shirt of his and handed it to me. New, never worn. I asked, How much? 8,000. I gritted my teeth. Okay, I'll buy it. If it weren't for him today, I would have been on the streets. Consider it as charity. He was beaming with joy. Sister, you're beautiful and kind-hearted. Good night. After tossing around half the night, I was exhausted. Lying on the warm and comfortable big bed, I soon fell asleep. The next morning, I was awakened by a commotion. Whose women's shoes are these? I thought you liked men. Can't I wear them myself? Can your feet fit into them? Tell that sissy to get out. Brother, what are you doing? The voices sounded familiar, but I couldn't remember why. Not coming out. With a bang. The door was suddenly kicked open. I sat up in bed with a start, trembling with fear. The person who came in cursed me head on. I'm telling you. Our Jason family will never let a man marry in. You can forget about. Halfway through the curse, his eyes landed on me. Lynn, Jason. We both stared at each other in confusion. The atmosphere was extremely awkward. Brother, you know each other. I had long heard that President Jason had a playboy younger brother who ate, drank, and had fun all day long. I never expected it to be him. President Jason. Don't misunderstand. I'm just staying here for a night, I quickly explained. President Jason's eyes fell on the men's t-shirt I was wearing, and his eyes darkened. Do you think I'm stupid? Then he looked puzzled again. Lynn, didn't you and Miles? He paused, then suddenly realized. Jason, you've become a mistress. President Jason was so angry that he pointed at Jason and cursed. No wonder Lynn suddenly resigned. So it was you who messed things up. I was still asking Miles's for liquidated damages. Turns out it was you who stole his girlfriend. My head was buzzing. I tried to stop the fight and explain. No, President Jason, it's not like that. Jason looked hopeless. Brother, with such a big imagination, you should write novels. Jay sighed. Well, being a mistress is better than liking men. Jason looked at him speechlessly. So, brother, I need money to date. I can't keep living off a woman. Right, you go back to the company obediently, and I'll unfreeze your cards. Jason sneered. Bye, brother, we have things to do. He signaled me with his eyes. Let's go. I quickly changed my clothes. Where to? He asked me. Do you have any money? I subconsciously touched my pocket. No, give me a ride. I added, I'll give you 200 yuan. Okay. He happily went to start his beloved motorcycle. My ID card was still with Miles, along with some other documents. I needed to get them back. It was getting late. He was always very self-disciplined, so he probably wasn't home at this time. But when I opened the door, his voice suddenly rang out. Lynn, you're back. Miles was actually at home. His voice was hoarse, with faint dark circles under his eyes, looking exhausted. Where were you last night? I couldn't get through to your phone. He stared at me, his tone unhappy. Do you know I've been looking for you all night, with Jason here? I didn't want to argue with him. I lost my phone. I'm here to get my things. Only then did he notice Jason behind me. Who is he? Jason crossed his arms, raised his chin slightly, and introduced himself to Miles with a smile. I'm the exclusive driver of this sister. Miles stared at me, asking, Lynn, were you with him last night? Yes, I nodded and reminded him. We broke up. It's my freedom to be with whoever I want. He stared at me and sneered. Lynn, this trick doesn't work on me. It's very low level. How ridiculous. He was sure that I wouldn't betray him and thought I was just using this method to force him to give in. Jason couldn't help but laugh. Dude, it's normal for her to want something fresh after getting tired of the old one. Why are you so confident at your age? Miles's face darkened instantly, pointing at Jason. I coldly interrupted him. Miles, I'll leave after getting my things. I won't disturb you anymore. I walked straight into the room and took out my document bag. Wait, take all your things. Miles followed me and reminded me coldly. I don't want them. I stood up. Don't want the clothes, no, and all those bags and jewelry, no. He had always been generous to me in the past. The whole cloakroom was filled with limited edition bags and haute couture, as he said. He had given me everything. I didn't want to take anything. He was stunned for a moment and then asked me, don't want the car either. No, I don't want anything. I'll give it all back to you. I got up to leave. He stared at me and said, fine, I'll throw away all your things. I don't want them either. No, I want them. Is that okay? Jason suddenly rushed over, very eager. I looked at him. Do you like Ferraris? He was overjoyed and nodded repeatedly. Yes, it's yours. Jason's eyes lit up with excitement. Miles frowned and reminded me coldly, Lynn, you're not a child anymore. People like him just want to cheat you out of your money. I glanced at him sideways and smiled self-deprecatingly. At least it's better than being cheated on emotionally. Jason drove my car, excited as if he'd won the lottery. I couldn't help but ask, hey, you're a super rich second generation. How did you end up in such a mess? He sighed helplessly. My family won't let me pursue music. They cut off my cards, ordered me to go home and manage the company, and even arranged dozens of blind dates for me to get married. Then, he gave a sly smile. So, I brought a man home. Okay, No wonder they say that the young master of the Jason family is unreliable. Where to? He asked me. The nearest barber shop. At the barber shop, I sat in front of the mirror, looking at my long hair that I'd had for years, and said to the barber, "Cut it." Strands of long hair fell to the ground. Looking at myself in the mirror, I felt a bit strange. "Do I look ugly?" I asked the person beside me. He was stunned for a moment, then exclaimed, "No, sister, you look like a pure college girl, even younger than me." "Oh, that won't do. Looking like a college student makes it easy to be bullied in the workplace." I quickly told the barber, "Give me a more mature style." After some trimming, my hair was slightly curled and dyed a low-key brown. It looked less childish and more composed. I was very satisfied. In the past, Miles liked my long hair, so I kept it. He liked me in light-colored clothes, so my wardrobe was full of them. He liked me to be positive and motivated, so I kept enriching myself, thinking about it. I seemed to have been unconsciously trying to please him. I thought that breaking up would be extremely painful, but in fact, after cutting my hair, I felt incredibly relaxed. I looked at myself in the mirror and smiled with relief. It's good, a fresh start. Jason looked at me, looking a bit hesitant. "Sister, are you leaving?" "Yes, actually, I think it's just a breakup. It's no big deal. There's no need to leave." "Right." I was puzzled. "No, I've finished cutting my hair. What else would I stay for?" He was confused. "Ah, you meant leaving the barbershop. What did you think?" I was even more confused. "I thought you were going to leave this city," he explained sheepishly. "I've read in novels that when the female lead breaks up, she leaves the sad city, goes abroad, or returns to her hometown. I read fewer novels. Besides, I'm not the one who wronged him in this breakup. Why should I leave? If anyone should leave, it's him. I've built my career here for so many years. I need to focus on making money now, in these 7 years. Although many people were envious and thought I got ahead by relying on a man, I'm not stupid. I know that relying on looks won't last long. To be honest, Miles really taught me a lot. My skills and abilities are real. Although the position of a secretary sounds ordinary, it has a wide range of responsibilities. Over the years, I've grown from managing Miles's daily trivial matters to influencing the company's decisions. I bought a new phone and got my SIM card replaced. I was about to find a new place to live. I transferred 10,000 yuan to Jason and said, "It's a small token. I still have some money, sister." Over the years, with my income and the company's equity dividends, I actually had enough to live a laid-back life. "Sister, you're my idol." He was pleasantly surprised and touched. "When I have money, I'll pay you back double. Take your time to find a house. You can just stay at my place. I won't charge you rent." When Jason and I got home and opened the door, we heard a familiar greeting. "You're back, Mom." "Brother, why are you still here?" Jason was startled. Jay ignored him and looked straight at me. "Lin, when can you start working on my company's project?" I explained embarrassedly. "Jason, I've resigned from Miles's. I really can't take on the project." Jay's eyes lit up. "That's perfect. Come to my company. I won't pay you less than what Miles did. I tried to poach you before, but you refused because of your boyfriend. Now it's the right time, isn't it?" To be honest, Jason was my first major client. When I first joined the company, everyone thought I was just a vase who got the job by selling her looks. When I went to talk about cooperation with Jason, he was also very skeptical of me. "Miss Song, don't waste your efforts." At that time, I just waited for him downstairs at his company every day. Later, for some reason, I was invited to his office. I briefly explained my plan in 10 minutes, and he signed the contract on the spot. I was very curious and asked him why he gave me the chance. He said that he happened to see me waiting for him downstairs. A row of bicycles beside the office building had been blown down by the wind, and I was helping to pick them up one by one. It was such a simple thing. Later, he offered me a job as a business supervisor at his company. I refused. At that time, he said, "Little girl, your ability will be buried because of personal feelings." Back then, I was too involved to see clearly. Now that I'm an outsider, I finally understand the meaning of his words. I still politely declined Jason. "Jason, thank you for your appreciation, but I still can't accept." "Why, do you have a new job opportunity?" He was curious. "No," I shook my head and explained. "This time, I want to be the one in charge. Working for others means always being subordinate. No matter how high you climb, it's hard to control your own destiny. I've never blamed Miles, on the contrary, I'm grateful to him for giving me the vision, resources, and knowledge, but he never gave me the ambition. In the past, I only wanted to be his support and take care of everything for him. But now, I want to give it a try. Even if I lose, I'm still better off than when I was 18 with nothing. But if I win, I won't be the Lynn who depends on others anymore. My children won't be as helpless as I was when facing life's difficulties. After listening, Jason showed a hint of admiration in his eyes. Ambitious, as soon as possible. My project is waiting for you. Then, he looked at Jason in confusion. I don't understand. You're such a nice girl. Why did you fall for this troublemaker in my family? No, Jason, I'm really not in that kind of relationship with your brother. He looked at Jason with disgust and ordered, take her home to meet your parents when you have time, and go back to the company to work right away. Jason left. Jason and I looked at each other. Sister, let's cooperate, he suddenly suggested. I was a bit confused. How? Let's get married. A real marriage or a fake one is fine. He rambled on with his analysis. You definitely need connections and resources for starting a business. With the Jason family as your background, things will be much easier. You can focus on making money. I don't like doing business. I don't want to be forced by my family to go on blind dates and get married. I just want to focus on making the music I like. He was right. With the Jason family connection, the resources and convenience it would bring could definitely save me a lot of detours. But after thinking about it, I still reminded him, Jason, I don't have a good reputation. I was with Miles for 9 years. In others' eyes, I'm just a secretary who got ahead by relying on her looks. He shrugged indifferently and mocked himself. My reputation is also bad. They call me a playboy, a useless rich second generation. I'm not capable either. I can't earn much from singing. If my family doesn't give me money, I might have to live off you. I thought about it and thought it was feasible. Okay, happy cooperation. Jason took me home to meet his parents. As expected, his parents opposed it. No way. That girl has a bad reputation and no family background. It's okay to have fun with her, but marriage is out of the question. Enough. You're being picky. Jason shook his head speechlessly. I've known Lynn for many years. She has good character and excellent work ability. So what if her family is poor? Do you think a perfect rich girl would like your son? Are you waiting for him to marry a punk? Then you'll be satisfied. Then, he reminded them helplessly, it's lucky that a girl is willing to be with him. Maybe in a few years, she'll give you a grandson. You should be happy. The old couple was still hesitant. But, this girl is much older than your brother. Jason, a woman 3 years older means more gold. 2 bricks are even better, right? After some thought, Jason's parents changed their attitudes immediately. Daughter-in-law, I was a bit harsh just now. Don't take it to heart. Jason and I quickly got our marriage license. Coming out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, Miles's call kept coming. I picked it up suspiciously. His voice on the other end sounded a bit weak. Lynn, where are my cufflinks? In the second drawer at the bottom of the wardrobe. Where are my underwear? In the side storage box. And, I interrupted him directly. Miles, I'll summarize it in a table and send it to your email later. Don't ask me about such things anymore. He was silent for a few seconds, then said hoarsely, when will you come back? His voice softened, with a hint of ingratiation. Lynn, let's make up. Don't be angry anymore. I can't sleep without you. I calmly told him, Miles, I'm married. What did you say? I sent him a photo of the marriage certificate. Jay's younger brother. He's 6 years younger than me. His voice was full of anger. You married him for the Jason family's background. I didn't deny it and continued. You just said we could make up. Sure, after all, like you, my marriage is just a formality. We can still be the same as before. It won't affect anything. Lynn. You actually want me to be the third party and have an affair with you? He was shocked and furious. I didn't comment and asked him puzzled. What's wrong? I know you're wronged, but the Jason family can bring me greater benefits. Bear with it for a while. In a couple of years, I'll get divorced. He fell silent. There was only his heavy breathing in the receiver. I smiled indifferently. Miles, you don't feel the pain until the knife stabs you. You once said that your family was unhappy. Your parents had a business marriage, and you were born because of family pressure. Your father had other women and children outside. You hated your father's infidelity and your stepmother's hypocrisy. But clearly, You wanted you and me to become the people you hated the most. The news of my marriage to Jason quickly spread throughout the circle. Everyone was talking about it, mostly saying that I was really capable, that since I couldn't marry into the family, I found another shortcut. I just listened to it as a joke. I started to focus on starting my own business. As soon as the recruitment notice was posted, several former team members came to apply. We had worked together for years and had a great working rapport. The project of Jason was something we were familiar with. With a large amount of project funds in place, I doubled the bonuses with a wave of my hand. Everyone was immediately full of motivation and signed several more contracts in succession. Although the company was small, it was full of energy. With the support of the Jason family, the business expansion went smoothly. Jason was still running around for various performances every day. He really loved music. However, his family still disagreed and kept his cards frozen, hoping that he would manage the company with me. Jason complained about being poor, looking at me pitifully. "Sister, I have no money to eat." I smiled helplessly and transferred 200,000 yuan to him. "I'm finally a kept man. Thanks, sister." He immediately beamed like a child who got candy. When his elder brother found out, he shook his head angrily. "You're getting more and more unreliable. When will you go back to the company, living off your wife every day? Don't you feel ashamed?" I quickly smoothed things over. "Big brother, I can handle things at the company. Jason is still young. Let him have a few more years to have fun." Big brother looked at me and sighed helplessly. "You're just spoiling him." On the way back, Jason looked gloomy and dejected. After a long while, he asked me in a low voice, "Sister, do you also think that my pursuit of music is useless and that I'm incompetent?" Looking at his appearance, I found it a bit funny. "Of course not. Who said music is useless?" I thought for a moment and then told him about my own story. I remember when I was in junior high school, my home was very far from school. But my parents thought I was a burden and refused to buy me a bicycle. At that time, I had to walk for 2 hours every day. In winter, it was cold and the road was slippery. I would jog while singing songs like "I Want to Fly to the Sky," "Shoulder to Shoulder with the Sun" and "Change the World," "Change Myself." Although it sounds a bit funny now, back then, those songs gave me the motivation to keep going. After hearing my story, he couldn't believe it. And a trace of heartache flashed across his face. "Were you so miserable before?" "Yes, I have an elder sister and a younger brother. I never wore new clothes when I was a kid. I only knew that going to university could be my way out, so I studied like crazy every day." I smiled and looked at him earnestly. "I've never been to any hobby classes. Having a dream and a hobby is really wonderful. Because even now, I don't know what my hobby is, what my dream is. I only know that I have to make enough money to live a better life." It was also the first time in many years that I faced my past so calmly. When I was with Miles, I was always ashamed to mention my past. When you like someone, you always feel inferior subconsciously, and I didn't want him to remember the once embarrassed Lynn. But with Jason, I could be extremely relaxed and calm. Jason was silent for a long time, looking gloomy. "But I don't know how long I can hold on to my dream. Making music costs a lot, and my family has always been against it." I looked at him with firm eyes. "I'll help you." "How?" "Of course. We'll make the most of our marriage. Jason, you sing beautifully. All you need is a chance to go viral." I patted him on the shoulder hard and, looking into his innocent eyes, asked, "Do you want to become an overnight sensation? Do you want to be a top star? Do you want the whole world to hear your voice?" He nodded excitedly, his eyes shining. "Yes, yes, yes. If you want to succeed, go crazy first." I made several vlogs of him and posted them on the video platform. The first day of having to go home and inherit the family fortune if I don't get famous. In the video, Jason, wearing shabby clothes and holding a guitar, sang to the camera, "Guys, my family cut off my funds, but I still won't give up on music." The poor life of a useless rich second generation after having his cards stopped. In the picture, Jason was cooking instant noodles and cracked half an egg into it, explaining, "I'll save the other half for the next meal." A rich second generation turns to be a singer, dream or fantasy. In the video, Jason carried a snakeskin bag on his back and had messy hair like a chicken coop. "Help, where can I pick up empty mineral water bottles and waste cardboard boxes?" Before long, it really caught the attention of netizens. "Please explain, whose clown is this? I'm literally dying of laughter." To be honest, He sings really well and is good looking. Let him go viral. Waiting for him to go home and inherit the family fortune. The number of views of Jason's videos was astonishingly high. He was a bit worried. Sister, will this work? I patted him. Don't worry, although I don't know much about music, I know marketing. Soon, many marketing accounts jumped out to give introductions. Oh my God, he's the young master of the Jason family. The Jason family has 3 sons. The eldest is the president, very low-key. The second is a lawyer, very high-profile. The third is a clown, very unreliable. The eldest drives a Bentley. The youngest rides a Chingju bike. The second brother dominates in the courtroom, while the youngest makes a fool of himself online. The news quickly reached Jason's parents. Whenever they went out, they were chased by relatives and friends and asked, "Oh dear, has your third son become famous?" The old couple was so angry. Our Jason family has never lost such face since the founding of the People's Republic of China. You're such an embarrassment. Jason trembled with fear. Sister, will Mom and Dad kill me? Will this work? I patted him. Don't worry. Now your parents hope you can make something of yourself more than anyone else. He suddenly realized. Sister, you're so amazing. I waved my hand. This is just the beginning. I forwarded him a music talent show link. I signed you up. Oh, by the way, our company has just made some money recently. I'll use it to sponsor this show. Why? To launch you. His eyes instantly turned red. Sister, you're so nice. Woo-woo. This silly boy is so easy to coax. Actually, I did it purely for the money. The news that Jason was participating in the show spread across the internet in an instant. With his unique voice and an original song, he went viral overnight and advanced to the finals. A photo of me waiting for him backstage was accidentally taken by an entertainment journalist and posted online. The media started to report on him extensively. Of course, I also bought some hot searches. Shocked. I heard that Jason got married young. His wife is waiting for him backstage at the show. They're so sweet. Oh my God, his wife is actually the sponsor of the show. That's right, Lynn, 6 years older than Jason, is now the president of a company. She's beautiful and excellent. So, his wife is the sponsor. She's spending money to launch Jason. She's so doting. What a story of a domineering female president and her cute husband. I'm loving it. I only ship real couples. It's all pure sugar. Netizens were loving it. And our company also received great attention. Taking advantage of this wave of popularity, I merged with a media company under the Jason family and prepared for the first round of financing. The return this time far exceeded the investment. When I was extremely busy, I received a call from Miles's assistant. Lynn, since you left, we haven't found a suitable secretary. Many company operations have been in chaos. Miles has been in a very bad state recently. He has severe insomnia. The day before yesterday, he had a gastric hemorrhage during a meeting and was directly sent to the hospital. He probably hasn't been eating well. It's like he's torturing himself. Everyone knows it's because you got married. Do you have time to go and persuade him? The company still relies on him to make money. In the past, he had a bad stomach, so I studied recipes for nourishing the stomach and cooked for him after work. After a long time of care, his stomach problem improved a lot. And his sleep also got better. Actually, I don't hate him. I'm very grateful to him for giving me a hand when I was at my lowest. Now that we've separated, I don't want him to torture himself like this. Breakups between adults should be more decent. After all, we'll always meet in the same circle in the future. When I was cooking porridge in the kitchen, Jason happened to come home. Sister, a music producer actually approached me today, and several companies want to sign me, he told me excitedly. When his eyes fell on the steaming hot porridge in the pot, they lit up. How did you know I was hungry? I chuckled. Here, I'll serve you a bowl. He picked it up and ate with big mouthfuls, nodding repeatedly. So delicious. I couldn't help laughing at his appearance. After eating, he turned around and went to the kitchen to wash the bowl. After coming out, he stared at me for a long time without saying a word. Lynn, he suddenly called my name. I was startled. What? He hesitated. Let's give it a try. I was confused. Try what? His face turned red, and he stammered. Try dating. Try being a real couple. I frowned and touched his forehead. What's wrong with your brain? He lowered his head, looking shy. I just think it's so happy to be able to drink your porridge when I get home. I was speechless for a moment. I didn't dare to tell him that the porridge wasn't actually for him. Then I thought, For so many years. Did Miles feel happy when he drank the porridge I cooked for him every day after work? I couldn't remember. Perhaps he had just gotten used to it and taken it for granted. Seeing that I didn't answer, Jason promised me again, "I will definitely treat you well and won't make you unhappy." I replied with some difficulty, "But you're too young, I don't have those feelings for you." He had always been like an innocent and naive child. I really didn't have any romantic feelings for him. Moreover, at present, I only wanted wealth and prosperity, not a bit of true love. I'm not young. He blushed and retorted loudly, "I'm talking about age." After an awkward silence, I broke the quiet. "Can you go to the hospital with me?" He was startled. Are you sick?" "No, it's Miles." When his eyes fell on the thermos in the kitchen, his face fell. Seeing this, I quickly coaxed him. Okay, I'll make it for you next time if you like it. It's not a big deal." In the hospital, Miles was lying on the bed, looking much thinner, his hair messy, and there were black stubbles around his mouth. He looked extremely exhausted. He didn't look like the elegant man he used to be at all. "Miles," I called him, and he looked up in a daze. "Lynn, you're here." I smiled. "Yes, Jason came with me." I pointed at Jason beside me. He opened his mouth, wanted to say something, but then fell silent. After a long time, he said hoarsely, "Lynn, I don't understand. Why did you just leave? Why did you suddenly stop loving me? We used to be so good." I forced a bitter smile. "Yes, we were so good. You've always known how much I cared about you. I have no relatives, no friends, and I regarded you as my only support. You were sure that I wouldn't leave you. You also knew how humbly I loved you. You understood my caution and my inferiority. Even the slightest bit of kindness from you would move me deeply. But later I realized that those gifts like fireworks over the sea, an empty amusement park, and limited edition luxury goods, seemed thoughtful with the support of money, but in fact, they were just a piece of cake for you. For these 9 years, I walked 99 steps towards you, but you didn't take a single step towards me. In this relationship, you've always been in the position of the superior, and I've been trying hard to please you." I looked at him straight. "It took me 9 years to understand a truth. The more you lower yourself, the less you'll be valued." He was silent, closing his eyes. His voice trembled. "Lynn, I'm sorry. In the future, let me please you, okay?" I bent down and put the thermos on the table. "Miles, have a good meal." Then, I turned around and left. The moment I closed the door, his plea came from behind. "Lynn, I regret it. I'll cancel the engagement with the Whites family. Come back, okay? Let's get married." Jason suddenly turned around, walked to the bed, and sneered, "Sorry, Miles. My wife has no intention of getting divorced." Miles struggled to sit up from the bed, staring at him. "I'll win her back. We have 9 years of feelings. What can you compare with me? I'm young." Jason raised his chin, looking proud. "I'm 10 years younger than you. When I'm 30, I'll still be in my prime. While you'll be an old man, I can outlast you." No, outlast the third party." The door closed heavily. Miles watched her figure gradually disappearing, his thoughts drifting. His girl seemed especially beautiful today. She looked beautiful with short hair. After leaving him, she seemed to be glowing. He remembered many years ago, on the anniversary of his mother's death, he got drunk after a big fight with his father and went home. She was busy making hangover soup, warming it, and feeding it to him. She hugged him lovingly and said, "Miles, we'll have a home and children in the future. We'll give all the love we lack to our child. Let's raise our childhood selves again." Okay, their child would have been as cute as her, the happiest kid in the world. It was a pity that it would never happen. He opened the porridge she brought. The familiar smell, mixed with his tears, it tasted a bit salty. His long empty stomach felt warm from the porridge, but his heart was empty. It seemed that he had lost something, or perhaps he had never really had it. The finals of the talent show that Jason participated in began. The popularity of our couple was unprecedented. Many media came to interview me. Facing the camera, I said directly, "I hope everyone will support Jason and vote for him." During this period, to thank everyone for your support for Jason, all Jason family products will be discounted on top of the discount, and there are 10,000 free orders available. Welcome to shop. Popular comments from netizens. "Sister, you're so doting on him." In an instant, the turnover of the Jason family's business skyrocketed several times. Over the years, I'm not just a useless vase, I still know something about capital operation. I was counting money until my hands were sore. On the final night, Jason won the championship with an extremely exciting